No, not today. Okay, Shalom Israel. Hope everybody's doing well today. Shout out Cobb, Guatemala, Sword of Truth family. Shout out Shema Wisdom family. Houston, Quantazop, Virginia, Kazakia, and Rochester, New York, Zion. I hope your brothers are doing well. We will see y'all soon, March 31st. That is when we gather for the Passover. So we'll be waiting for that time. It's coming up within 2 weeks. So, it's going to be a good time to catch up with brothers and friendships and connections. We're going to get started today in class. The title of the class is Our Inward Struggle to Confess/Communicate. Our inward struggle to confess/communicate. A lot of us, we get classes quite often, and hopefully, the classes help, or they at least guide us to for clarity and understanding of our battles. And hopefully the classes can kind of allow us to get spiritually stronger. But I've noticed over the years, a lot of us take the information, they take the classes, they get the knowledge, but it's still a challenge to transition from the informational side to the knowledge side to actually making the changes inside of yourself.
So you're saying go from application or from information to application?
A lot of us have problems with how we receive the information towards the execution of it. And a lot of times that execution doesn't come out the right way because we don't communicate enough and we don't communicate properly about the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the emotional roller coaster that goes throughout our mind on a daily basis. That affects us on a major basis, and we don't communicate enough about these issues to gain a strong foothold and change the things in our life. Because ultimately, why do we sit back here and log in the hours that we log in? We log in the class time, we log in the work, we put the physical work in. What good is it if we're not going to see the spiritual results that we're coming in to do? Because a lot of times I've seen a lot of people over years put 5, 7, 8 years of time into this, but still in a lot of arenas be the same person. And the longer you're in the work, the longer you are committing your life to the Most High and you don't see the benefits, a lot of times you're taking the risk of losing interest, losing hope, losing focus, and eventually quitting. Because a lot of us in our minds can't figure out proper masteries of our own issues.
So you're saying there's a connection between the topic of not being able to express myself and then seeing success in my life using the Bible. There's a link.
There's a link between not communicating and not actually fixing things in our life. And I guess the reason we're going to a class today is to kind of go over the different dynamics as to why there's parts in us that don't feel we can communicate with the right people. We'll always sit back here. We have a greater proclivity to talk to somebody that has as many weaknesses as I do or as many flaws as I do, but we don't like talking to the people that can give us the answers that we need. We run from the people that can give us the solutions and the clarity of thought necessary to get through our issues.
You used to say back in the day that the one-eyed mice, this is what you said, the one-eyed mice is the king of the blind.
I have said that, but I don't know where that comes from.
You said that.
No, I know. I made that statement. I am not lying. I'm just trying to find out how that statement connects to this.
The connection is people that have a slight better understanding than you do.
Yes.
They're the person, they're the authority figure. I'll go to someone who's slightly above me versus the person that really has a full grasp of the understanding. Because it's so uncomfortable dealing with judgment for people.
I get where you're coming from. I get it.
We're not going there. That's cool.
Oh, I'm with you. I get the point, but what's the point? The point is we'd rather talk to I don't want to say, let me just stick to the point.
Up here?
We rather talk to a peer than a person that can actually guide our thoughts
Okay.
and give us real collections, real understanding of our issues. And then we're going to go into class today about why that's the case, why it's so hard for us to communicate, and pretty much let the teacher know what's going on in your life to get fixed. The first verse we're going to go into is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 1 through 10. 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 1 through 10. Now, that is in the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha in Greek means hidden books. And when you sit back here and look at 2nd Ezra, years ago, I'm talking about 1600s, years before, when people first had the Bible, you had 1st Ezra, 2nd Ezra, 3rd Ezra, and 4th Ezra. 1st Ezra is the Ezra you read in the scriptures now. 2nd Ezra is Nehemiah. 3rd Ezra is 1st Ezra in the scriptures, in the Apocrypha. And 2nd Ezra is really 4th Ezra, the way the Bible was put together in the past. These books in this Apocrypha are parts of the scriptures, but through different captivities and different scenarios and books that were lost in translation, they weren't kept in the original text. But these scriptures are still quote unquote canon. They still deal with and appertain to our spirit. So we use these accordingly as well as we use the regular Holy Bible KJV. 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 1 through 10.
Just have phones on silent. 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 1. And when I had made the end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel which had been sent unto me the night before. And he said unto me, Ezra, and hear the words that I came to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case the entrance were narrow and like a river.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 5. Then who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad?
So what he's explaining is, in order to get to the broad place, the wide place, you have to experience the narrow. Okay, and he's going to give another explanation of the point he's trying to explain. Read on.
Verse 6. There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things.
There is a broad city that is ready for us to experience and enjoy and take advantage of. Read on.
The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall.
And when you sit back and read scripturally, that wide place is eventually the kingdom of our Father. He's telling us the kingdom is wide and sure, but the process to get to that kingdom is very narrow, very difficult, and very uncomfortable. Okay, so read that verse, verse 7 again.
Verse 7. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water.
So once again, this angel is explaining to Ezra that this is the path to the wide. Narrow, it's fire on one side, it's water on the other. There's difficulties on both sides, and all we can do is move forward. Okay, read on.
And only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once.
And the way this angel is explaining our path to serving the Most High in Christ, or our path to attaining the kingdom, he's saying, listen, only one person can walk this path at a time. Okay, read on.
If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive his inheritance?
Whether it's Ezra, whether it's ourselves, how can we get the inheritance that was meant for us unless we deal and walk through these narrow paths and passages to get to what we want? Okay, read on.
And I said, It is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, Even so also is Israel's portion.
Israel's portion. So what the angel is telling Ezra is that the path that we have to take to get to the kingdom, this wide place, is going to be narrow. Only one person can walk it at a time, and there's going to be danger on both sides.
So there are no easy paths.
There's no easy paths, and specifically, only one individual can cross this path at a time. When you sit back here and think about this story, and you think about the reality of what it takes to get to the wider place, what's the first thing that hits your mind? What feeling can a person easily feel when they're experiencing this reality? Fear. But what's another one to kind of build on that? Because fear is a reality. It is a reality that when you're sitting back here and you're fighting this path and only one person can walk alone and there's danger on both sides, hell yeah, fear is a word. What's another word?
Hopelessness. Doubt.
Intimidation.
We're close. I'm thinking of another one.
Anxious.
A word with the L letter. How about that? We'll be sitting here and we're throwing out letters for all. Lonely. Everything you guys said was right. I'm not even knocking anything, but I'm driving a point, so I'm going to drive the point with the word I choose. Dang it. So listen, out of all those other words, fear and all those issues, if I'm doing this, I have heard this countless times, how people feel alone amongst a bunch of people.
Alone in the crowd.
Alone in their battle. Alone in the crowd. Alone in their fight to get to their wide place. Am I speaking truth, or I'm just making this stuff up as I'm going?
That's true.
When you're in the middle of your battle, do you not feel alone? Listen, at times, once again, the title of the class is Our Inward Struggle to Confess and Communicate. What are the things that keeps a person from confessing their faults, from talking about their problems to get the help that they need? The first thought is, I'm alone in this. Because what's the first thing Satan or these spirits try to get us to think? Nobody what? Nobody what? Nobody's there to help you. Nobody understands. Nobody's able to help you because nobody understands.
The only person going through this
is you. And that thought is what rides the majority of us when we're in the midst of the battle. Mm-hmm. I'm the only one battling through this. Nobody else is going through what I'm going through. Remember when Elijah was in the middle of his battle, he said, I'm the only person on earth that's riding with you, Father. Everybody else is with you.
That believes in the Most High.
And I'm the only one standing up for you. And I'm isolated and alone in this battle. This is the thinking that we all have when we're truly being challenged. I'm pointing this out to let us know, because we sit back and tell brothers, listen, man, you got to talk, you got to talk, you got to talk, you got to communicate, you got to let people know what's going on with you. And what do we get? Yes,
silence.
Khan, I will. And then you get calls back? No. Then we're like, hey, how's everything going? Everything is good. Okay, no problem.
Everything's nice.
Everything's good. I'm fighting my battle. I'm like, come on, and then you start seeing people glitching everywhere you go. Their actions are different. Their outlook is different. But they're telling you everything's A-okay. So where is the disconnect? The first disconnect is people think that nobody understands what they're going through. What I'm going through, why talk? Nobody's going to understand what I'm feeling anyway. That's the first part. Then we're going to sit back here and go to Psalms 143, verse 4.
Psalms 143, verse 4.
Matter of fact, you can read verse 3, but I was really focusing on verse 4.
Psalms 143, verse 3. For the enemy hath persecuted my soul.
Listen, the enemy, when David was talking, the enemy was Saul. What brothers, the enemy is there, the rib that let him down. Right?
Okay.
The enemy is whatever scenario is making me feel down.
The adverse circumstance.
The adverse circumstance or the people or the person that is the focus of my sadness. This person is trying to destroy me. My life is trying to destroy me. The circumstances in my life are unbearable and unfair. Okay? It's whatever enemy you got, plug it in. Okay? Put a picture of the enemy. Because that's really what it is. For the enemy hath persecuted my spirit. Read on.
It says, he hath smitten my life down to the ground.
Isn't that how we feel about our conditions? I've heard brothers complain about their parents. Ancestors complain about their parents, like their parents have smitten their life to the ground. Their parents, their circumstances, their mother, their father, the system. Their life was just so more messed up than everybody else's. Read on.
It says, he hath made me to dwell in darkness.
This mother, this woman, this man, this sister, this cousin, this situation has brought me into a low, dark state.
Yeah.
Read on.
As those that have been long dead.
Like these spirits, these people, my life condition, it would have broke anybody else. And I'm barely hanging on. My life is unfair because of the conditions I've gone through. Read on.
Therefore is my spirit overwhelmed within me.
And this is why people's spirit is overwhelmed. And they don't think people understand them. Because they can't see. They see everybody else happy, confident, at peace. And like they're not going to understand what I'm going through and how what I'm going through is making me feel inside. So why even communicate about it? They're not going to understand it. They're going to say, oh, just do this, this, and this. And everything's going to be okay. And then you're like, you're just giving this some easy ass answers like you really know what's going on. You don't know what the hell I'm going through.
And I have the illusion and
true.
the false idea that I can solve it.
Yep.
But the reason why it's a false idea is because it's already been a lifelong issue that I haven't solved. I am 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old. And all these years that have gone by, the issue or the problem has not been solved yet. Therefore, this is a blind spot.
It's a blind spot. It's a blind. I'm gonna let you finish. It's a blind spot in my issue, and I choose isolationism versus help.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue is I'm blind to how to fix it,
Yep.
but I'm afraid or I don't believe the help is there for me.
Exactly.
Or there's a person who can help the issue that I'm really dealing with. Okay? Yeah, more. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was saying this is
Okay.
a blind spot. And though I may be competent in other arenas of my life, the lie is that because I'm competent in mathematics, or I'm competent at the job, or I'm competent with people, or I'm competent in the sport, that doesn't mean I'm competent in this area of weakness.
Huh?
That's the lie.
Yep. So, let's continue. Read verse 4 again.
I got you. Psalms 143, verse 4. Therefore is my spirit overwhelmed within me.
Now, when a person is overwhelmed, what's another thing that's they're also dealing with? Read on.
My heart.
Meaning my mind, how I feel, is what?
My heart within me is desolate.
It's desolate. Desolate, definition of desolate is solitary and without a companion.
So the heart desolate means is that another way of saying alone?
Yes, that's what I just said. Solitary without a companion. Yes, I know. You're just emphasizing the point.
Simple.
He just emphasized the point. He knows what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, that's exactly what's happened. We feel overwhelmed. We feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what, listen, and the class is going to explain itself. But when we feel alone, what do we start to do? We do actions that match how we feel.
Yeah, that's
if I feel alone, then I operate alone. If I feel alone, then you won't see me around people. I won't even sleep in the same place I normally sleep. I'll sleep in isolated spots. I won't talk to people. I won't communicate. And I've seen brothers over the years, they'll physically be there, but mentally they're somewhere else. So either you're working with somebody in the physical, but mentally they're somewhere else, in Alaska somewhere else. Or their physical presence isn't there. This is the condition, and this is why people don't communicate. Because they feel desolate, they feel alone, they feel like they're on that island, on that narrow path where there's danger everywhere, and there's nobody to help you. So now I just have to operate and live, and that the trick of that is you tell yourself, all I got is me. I have to depend on me. I have to rely on my thoughts, my wit, whatever's taking me this far, I got to function with it. What you got?
just wanted to add a quick verse just on that point, just on that thought process. It goes right into.
Make sure we don't class verses, man.
No, it ain't in there.
Okay.
Jeremiah 15 and verse 17.
There's no Jeremiah in mine.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Jeremiah 15 and verse 17, real quick.
Thank you, sir. You said Jeremiah
15 and verse 17 through 18.
I'm
I'm
trying.
Once you start typing it.
Got you.
At least he didn't go to like 20 and 25. I was like, come on, man.
No, it's
There's a rule that you got to let me get cooking a little bit, man, first.
I know, but if we go past it, I ain't going to pull
You're good. One or two, we're okay. We're going to
Jeremiah 15 and verse 17.
Jeremiah chapter 15 and verse 17. I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoiced.
When that pain, when that frustration, when that doubt hits him, what Jeremiah is explaining is he removed himself from those that were going to chastise, embarrass, call out his flaws, and also he removed himself around people who would bring rejoicing to him.
Mm.
So instead of, I'm just not going to be around anybody. I'm not going to be around those that can make me happy or those that can make me sad.
Because the truth is, I'm looking at everybody as an enemy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking at everybody as they don't understand me, and that they're not going to give me the words I need to hear and comfort me in this time of need.
It goes right into that. Keep reading.
Come. Jeremiah 15, 17. I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoiced. I sat alone because of thy hand.
Because when the Most High is
Has
targeting
his hand on you.
He's got his hand on you. When he's targeting you, when you feel that pressure, that's when the aloneness comes in. That's when you feel like nobody can understand. Nobody is in the same situation I'm in. Because the fire's on you at that moment. The fire switches. The adversity switches between families, between people. But just because the adversity,
Make your eyes open.
just because the adversity is on you at that moment, doesn't mean nobody else has gone through the circumstance or no one can relate to the circumstance. But Jeremiah's explained the natural train of thought when you are in that fire, when that hand is on you. Read on.
I sat alone because of thine hand, for thou hast filled me with indignation.
Because now you have anger, now you have frustration, and also going to explain now I have doubt. Because what the Most High is doing is his hands exposing your deficiencies. His hands exposing things you got to change. And now, when you have all these endless things you got to change in your face, it produces doubt, it produces fear, and it produces the feeling of incompetence. Read on. I'm going to prove that. Read on.
Why is my pain perpetual?
Because this is what a lot of people ask. Why do I I don't want to keep making this mistake anymore. I want to change. I want to be better. I want to be more virtuous. But every time this fire's on me, it's exposing the same issue that I have not solved yet. The same issue that I've counseled over and over on. That is still blaring in my face. So then the question comes in, is the Most High actually working with me? Am I actually getting fed the right spiritual food?
Or am I meant for this?
It goes right into
That's
that.
where it
Am I
goes.
meant for this? Is the Most High a liar?
I got to pull verses
No,
earlier than
no.
normal, man. Let's keep going. Let's continue. Let's continue, Hebrews.
Read on.
Why is my pain perpetual and my wound incurable?
He says, why is my wound incurable? I have all this medicine from it.
Well, first of all, it's this. Why do you say it's incurable when you don't go to anybody who can actually cure you?
Yeah.
That's really the issue. Like you mentioned about, I really want to change. Do we?
And
Or are we so consumed with the pain, we're not trying to get the proper remedy? Listen, when you're really down and low, how many people really read the Bible?
I don't want to read about it anymore.
There you go. Then do you really want to change?
I do.
There we go. And that's the dynamic.
You understand?
When we're really low,
I swear.
when we're really down, when we're really angry,
Yeah.
when we're really dejected, when we're really in pain, we don't read Bible verses. Either, and if somebody tries to pull Bible verses, you're judging me.
Yeah. You're mocking me.
You're shaming me.
You're mocking me right now.
Exactly. You're shaming me. You're mocking me. You're bringing me down.
Yeah.
You're not building my spirit up.
Yeah.
That's the mindset. And then, after I show that, then I say, why is my wound incurable? I push people away with my attitude, with my actions, with my disrespect. I back people off. Then I go back home and I'm sad that I still feel the way that I feel.
And the wound that's incurable is the idea of people saying that time will heal all things.
Yeah.
When actually, is it true?
It
Some
ain't
things-
true.
Some things are not healed with time. You'll grow out of it. Really? Will we
No.
grow out of certain things? If I'm a liar, Am I going to grow out of being a liar?
Not if it's not worked on.
If I'm very depressed and I haven't got spiritual counsel and solutions and problems, is the depression just going to walk away? Oh, he's been doing this for 10 years. It's time for me to leave. I'm out of here. Tired of making this guy sad.
I got to pull this verse at this point because y'all brought me here. Hold this and go to Job 9 and 27.
So last I did it.
It's all y'all.
I was trying to add in that.
Listen, you add, now we're going into pew, pew, we thinking far lefts and far rights and about faces and stuff. Dang, bro. I needed like 15 more minutes before we did this.
I understand.
That's fine.
This is
good. This is good. We're gonna do it. We will get back and we'll get back on track.
Yeah.
Read that.
You read it again.
Job chapter 9, verse 27.
In the process of this cycle of sadness and sickness, where it says, "Why is my pain perpetual, and my wound incurable, which refuseth to heal?" And the Most High in Isaiah talks about how we have putrefying wounds.
Yes.
Meaning the wounds are so bad and have been unattended to for so long, it just festers and festers and it gets
More
infected.
infected.
But the cycle that creates the infection starts out with verse 27 of Job. Read that.
Chapter 9, verse 27. If I say, I will forget my complaint, I will leave off my heaviness.
How many people do that? I'm just going to stop thinking about it.
I'm
going to watch movies.
It's going to over.
I am going to binge on Netflix.
I'm tired of this feeling.
I am going to drink alcohol. I am going to smile and go to the club. I'm going to sit back and read books. I'm just going to sit back here and not think about the struggle that I'm facing right now.
A pair of shoes.
I'm going to buy clothes. Retail therapy. It's retail therapy.
Yeah.
Is eating food you don't need to
Bring
eat.
in the ice cream.
I'm Netflixing my tail off. Or I'm sleeping a ridiculous amount of sleep.
So tired.
You'll sleep so bad. You'll sleep so long. You can knock out 10 hours and still wake up. I am tired. I'm so tired. I need a rest.
I need more
How
rest.
you been knocking out 10 hours? What are you doing sleeping for longer?
My body's telling me.
I don't know if y'all have done that.
I have.
So listen, you can sit back.
It's great.
There's a sweet spot of sleep where you wake, you do it, and you go to sleep, and you
fresh.
charge, and you're good.
Yeah.
But you go over that sweet spot, you're like, like you sit back, you keep pushing that damn snooze button,
30 more minutes.
and it's like, I give up. Sleep. Then you're knocking out 2 hours more, and you're just more tired.
You're hibernating.
Yeah.
You're hibernating. But what's the point?
Yeah.
Whether I'm hibernating, retail therapy, eating, drinking, going out to the club, binge watching television, or I sit back here and I just consume myself with knickknacks. I'm just going to sit back and work on cars and be Tim the Tool Man all them day long.
Things need to be fixed here.
Bob the Builder. I'm just going to be Bob the Builder everywhere I go. So I don't focus on what's going on in my life. Yes.
Yeah.
Tim the Tool Man. Oh, yes, exactly. We're going to be that guy or Bob. We're going to do something to not focus on my problems.
Yeah.
This is what we do, right? Read verse 27 again.
God, if I say, I will forget my complaint, I will leave off my heaviness and comfort myself.
This is what we do when we try to get ourselves out of the rut that we're in by ourselves. Do we not do this?
Come.
Read on.
Verse 28. I am afraid of all my sorrow.
But then all of a sudden, after you try to forget the complaints, the fear kicks back.
Yep.
And the sadness kicks back in. And you can hide and run from it and run from the problem and forget about the problem all you want. The sorrow comes back again. It doesn't stay away. The only way to fix it is through prayer, counsel, and studying. It's got to be the whole shebang. We'll go into it. But we don't do that because we're so caught up into our issues and we tell ourselves life isn't fair and we isolate ourselves away from our help.
Well, and this is why Christ said the sin of adultery has already been committed when you thought about it in your mind. Because what he's saying is, Job is saying, I'm afraid of my sorrows because I understand this train of thought is going to lead me to doing sin.
But then the train of thought leads me to sin, but I don't allow any person to shake it up.
Yeah.
And to break me out of the sin.
But
What do I say? You don't care.
Yeah, you don't understand.
You don't care about me. You don't understand. All we do is push off the possible solutions that are presented in front of us. Or you don't understand what I'm going through. So now I'm not qualified to give you answers that you need. Yeah. So I stay in this cycle of sorrow like you're talking about.
And that's why it says thy wound is incurable.
But then it goes into
we're
it.
getting the why.
Yes. And that was why I brought it out. Let's continue.
Verse 28. I am afraid of all my sorrows. I know that thou will not hold me
innocent. So now I'm rolling with all these negative thoughts. Now I start telling myself, I'm unfixable.
It's too late for me.
Maybe I'm not meant to do this. Maybe I'm not meant to be in this truth.
I'm the worst person in the world.
Maybe this isn't for me.
I'm just wicked.
Then what's for you?
Just be wicked.
I'm just good. Then that's the other thought. Maybe I'm just going to be wicked. That isolationism is rolling now. What's the next verse?
Verse 29. If I be wicked,
If I'm this bad, read on.
why then labor I in vain?
Maybe I need to stop doing this.
Yeah.
This is for nothing.
I'm working
Maybe
real hard.
this isn't for me.
Just not to make it.
Let me go ahead and just live my life.
That's called
Isn't these the thoughts that hit people?
I just said the same thing.
That's called condemnation of the devil.
Kinda.
That means I'm condemning myself over and over again to the point where now I'm going to just maintain the same posture of negative because I don't think there's hope in doing things the right way.
And I don't think it's hope because I have detached myself from the help. I've talked myself out of reminding myself that, hey, there's people around here that the Most High has sent to actually remedy the exact same thing I need to remedy in.
They have dealt with what you're dealing with and have won in your situation.
But you know, people who have overcome it and can help you. You tell yourself they don't want to say what I'm going through. They can't help me. You've talked yourself out of the solutions that you need. And that's why when you go back to Jeremiah chapter 15, we tell ourselves that my wounds are issues, what I'm going through is incurable. Now I'll go back to your
Read that verse 18
Jeremiah
again.
15, verse 18.
Come. Jeremiah 15, verse 18. Why is my pain perpetual and my wound incurable, which refuseth to be healed?
Because this is the question. Now that I have this thought process in my mind, I refuse to counsel, and we're going to explain why you refuse to counsel. But the result of not counseling, the result of relying on your thought process of, I'm just too far gone, what you're going to start doing is questioning the Most High. Read on.
Wilt thou be altogether unto me as a liar?
Because what you're telling the Most High is, you lied to me when you said you could change me.
Mm-hmm.
You lied to me when you said you could be my comfort.
Con.
When you said you can clean me of my
Or
sin,
that
of my scarlet
the right
sins.
method and the biblical method works.
God.
Yes.
If I follow the way that you said,
I'm trying. It's not working.
Even though I'm not doing it 100%, I'm doing some things. I'm going to class. I might talk sometimes in passing, but it's not working. That's not working.
And this is important because people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on therapists, but don't get physical, biblical understanding.
Mm-hmm.
This is to heal and develop and better people. That's the goal of the information.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point. So I have this self-condemning mindset, the mind that's saying nothing is working. The spiritual path is not working. Now I'm telling the Most High, you're a lie to me. Read on.
And I say that by saying this isn't meant for me.
Yeah. That's the last part. Read on.
Wilt thou be altogether as unto me as a liar, and as waters that fail?
Because what does the waters represent?
The word.
The word. So now the words fail.
And waters also represent, I'm not trying to be like,
Yeah,
over-
deep
over-
in.
over-
The water is the word, man.
Super smart guy here.
Super smart time. What is the water's also mean?
All water does is clean up a situation, clean up a problem.
Yeah. Water's the word.
I know. I'm just sometimes people mean metaphors, bro. So I'm saying
The washing of the
waters
water.
that fail.
Exactly.
Not, I've been here. I'm trying to be clean. Now I'm still not clean.
I still have these
People have said
raging
I've been in
thoughts.
truth for years and I haven't fixed my problem.
Yeah.
The Lord hasn't fixed it.
Okay.
That's a lot of times we have that mindset. I've been in this truth and I haven't changed. Then what's the purpose of me being here?
Yep.
We see brothers and sisters with this issue quite often. This is not some isolated incident. A lot of people will tell themselves that this process doesn't work. Serving the Lord doesn't work. I've been in the truth for X amount of years and I still haven't grown. I haven't gotten this rank. I haven't built up on this. I haven't got this. I haven't gotten this blessing. Why am I even doing this?
And I was there before, but I know Sean Shawan is harping on Sean Shawan's point. Sean Shawan would say, from this point, people put God in the clock.
Mm-hmm.
They put the Most High in the clock. They say, if in 4 months I don't get a rib, out. If in 3 months I don't get a car, done. If I don't rank up in 6 months, out of there. People put God in the clock. And that's offensive to the Most High.
No doubt. No doubt. You have more on
Yeah,
that?
that's it.
So, let those go, and now go to Psalms, chapter 32, verse 1 through 4. We're going to read the entire chapter eventually. Psalms 32, verse 1 through 4.
Psalms chapter 32, verse 1.
Guys, question, why we go to this scripture?
Well, we're going here because it goes into the process of when a person's in their battle, they internalize, they keep things in, and it ends up wearing them down because they keep things in. So let's read verse 1.
Psalms chapter 32, verse 1. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered.
So David's like, listen, blessed is the person who, when they do sin, the Most High is going to sit back and bless it, cover it, and not hold the sin against them. Read on.
Blessed is the man unto whom the Most High imputeth not iniquity,
And what's that mean?
Let's just continue the verse, and I'll explain it.
and in whose spirit there is no guile.
Meaning this, you're blessed. Blessed is the person who the Most High can look at your works and not judge you as being some negative person. Blessed are you, the person who can do this work for the Most High, and he not going to hold what you're doing against you over your head. So it's like the ones who are favored, you're blessed if he's looking at you and can wink at some of your issues.
Because David sinned, and when David sinned, the Most High didn't hold his sin. It was a major sin.
Yes.
But for all of his works and sacrifices and investments in God, the Most High said, listen,
I'm going to sting him, but I'm not going to break you
Yes.
because of your sin. So he's like, blessed is the person who's put in enough spiritual currency, who has learned to be rich in spirit, to where he can wink at some of his missteps. Okay, read on. Now I'm not going to say, when I say wink, I don't mean you're not going to get stung for your sins, but who's not going to sit back here and judge you
You get
cursed
completely broken.
for your mistakes. Yes, sir.
A slightly lesser punishment.
God, I'm not going to say slap, but let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Verse 3. When I kept silence, my bones waxed old through my roaring all the day long.
He says, when I keep silence,
Oh my God.
when I don't talk about my issues,
Yeah.
when I don't talk about what's really eating at me, my bones are waxed old through
That's
through
how
my
you feel on
roaring.
the inside.
I don't know if you ever saw the Matrix act.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw that movie at the Matrix act when he was talking to like the Grand Inquisitor, like the smart, the main computer program
I'm a
guy.
computer program guy.
And he was like, yeah, all these plans you're making, you guys are going to still lose in the end. He's like, F you! Yeah! I can't stand you! Remember that point? And he was throwing up the bird with everybody, and he was just all these anger gestures.
Yeah.
Why am I expressing that? That's how we feel inside in our battle.
We
sit back here, we're angry, we're roaring inside all day long about how hard our life is and how much we're suffering.
This was rage quitting.
We're what?
Rage quitting. That's right. That's right.
We're rage quitting? What does that even mean?
Throwing the control.
I want to hear what you say with that. What's rage quitting at? You know what that is? Yeah.
Josiah was rage quitting.
Oh,
This.
yeah, that's too much.
No, we're not. Come on. I'm not blowing like that. I'm pointing at you, Jay, man. You acting like you knew what. I don't know what the hell rage quitting is. That's some like Gen, whatever you guys are.
Gen Z talk, guys.
It's like you get blown out, mad. Like,
Yeah.
so you know it's over. You know it's over with, so you just turn the game off. Like,
No, you're not gonna get it, but like, I'm pushing this button. That's not how Jake does it when he loses that. They're breaking controllers. I know that much. You're breaking controllers and you're cussing people out and you're storming out the damn room.
That's what the Cowboys do.
I'm gonna cut this off. Flip. And I'm gonna sit down. That's not rage quitting. I know that. That's not the case.
Nah.
That's Cowboys. When they go there, they throw their beer out and they punch the screen out.
Yeah.
They lose the game out. They take the
Those are Eagles fans too. Cowboys,
Yeah,
they go crazy when they take L's out. Okay, so that's what rage quitting is.
That's what it does on the inside.
On the inside. That's what we are. We're sitting back here. We're pissed. We're angry. And then what happened is you'll talk to a brother. You'll talk to a sister, and you get snappy responses. You get rude reactions. Like, why is this person so angry? Because inside, they're raging and they're pissed and they're vexed about their situation because they're keeping it what? Silent. And this is what we're talking about. Read verse 3 again.
Psalms chapter 32 and verse 3. When I kept silence, my bones waxed old through my roaring all the day long.
So what it's saying is this. There is an actual physical effect to having a negative outlet. Have you noticed that when you really got a negative outlet, you can't get up in the morning?
Oh yeah.
You notice that? You're
Yeah.
super tired,
Clock's
and all of a sudden you wake up. As soon as you go to sleep, it's like time to get up.
Yep.
That is.
There's no sleep.
There's no sleep. You can get no rest. There is literal physical consequences to wrestling with negative spiritual thoughts all day
And you're
long.
exhausted.
That's what I'm saying. You're exhausted. You can't get up. You're moving slow, which makes whatever vexation inside of you amplify more and more and more. But what is the root of it? So then you have people putting pressure on you at the job, checking you about why you're not getting up, why you're moving slow.
It has
And now you got this screaming guy screaming even more because of the issue that they're not facing at home when they need to talk to people. Is this not the human condition? Is this not the Israelite condition on 4444 Walsham Dam Road? Yes, it is.
Don't
Not that address.
Please
not
don't
that
do
address. Is that the
We don't got time for that.
B house address issue?
Hang on. I got a problem. Like, I go to school. There's a school for that.
There's a school for this. If we can
Most
edit-
they do will show up at that place.
They would? No, we're okay. He only said the ad. He only said it's a street name. He didn't say the number. Actually, we're good at it. What am I trying to say? What are we trying to express? Is that this is the condition. We think we're being strong. We think we're making the right decision, but by not talking, we're making our day 10 times harder. We're the physical stress that we're enduring is because we're not dealing with the issues in our mind and our sadness and our frustration on the inside. David has explained the more things he kept silent, the more his body was roaring. His body was waxing old through roaring all day. What's roaring? It's complaining. You get tired from all the complaints you got.
Yeah.
Every time you're tired and you're complaining about what's going on in your life, what you don't have in your life, that is exhausting. Am I right or wrong? Why is this? Why is water wet? Why is the sky blue? I'm going through all these damn whys. I'm just getting more tired and more tired by the day. Then I want to just blow up. Huh? That's what it is. Another word for it. But then you can't get rest even when you want the rest.
You're young and restless.
So it affects the young and restless. Then it affects your rest. You can't go to sleep. So you're just in this consistent mania where you're tired, you're frustrated, you're aggravated at everything, and you still not what? Not talking. And then we still go back to that Jeremiah process when you try to be strong and forget about it and push it off, and that only works for so long. Then that perpetual cycle of sadness, and anger, and self-loathing kicks in, and you start trying to convince yourself that this isn't for you. And you keep isolating yourself and pushing yourself away. This is explained in the scriptures. So, read verse 4 now.
Psalm chapter 32 and verse 4. For day and night thy hand was heavy upon me.
What do you think? Most of that pressure, right? That pressure to exposing and getting you to think about the things you're not accomplishing.
And my job is
The
twice
things
as
you're
hard.
failing in.
My house is twice as hard.
Because you keep
Relationship
focusing
twice-
on what you're losing, what you don't have,
Yep.
the mistakes you keep making,
Yep.
your inadequacies. And he says, this is a day and night thy hand was heavy on me. That means my thoughts are heavy on me. Day and night. Read on.
I'm a night owl.
God.
My moisture.
A night owl is also a day zombie.
Yeah.
It's both of those things.
Yeah. Both.
You're a day zombie and a night owl. Because that's how we get brothers and sisters. They're day zombies. They're like, praise. They're all at the night. They can't go to sleep. Like, what are you doing? That's a person plagued in his thoughts.
They're vampires at night. They're zombies at day.
There we go. And that's what it is. And that lets you know, for the brothers we work with, that a person is battling something,
Yeah.
and they're battling isolation. Read on.
My moisture is turned into the drought of summer.
All of my vitality, all of my strength, all of my clarity, my vigor, because your moisture is your vigor, your vitality. All your strength is zapped out. This is why you see people just going through the motions when they're unhappy.
You can see it on their face. They look like
they're
walking through the desert. Everybody's walking through this. Like, are you tired of it? Calm.
But see, but it's not. You'll know because you'll sit back and say, "Get some rest, brother," and the next day they're the same way.
Yeah, consistent.
Rest doesn't do it,
God.
which lets you know there's a sickness in a person's spirit, and the sickness is the fact that they're not talking about what's going on with them. And they just hold on to issues and hold on to sadness and never let somebody really help them through their battle. Hold this and go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 9, verse 14 and 15. Get through this.
It's your time all day. Until Saturday. Go to 12 o'clock now,
Dude, that's old school. We used to go 5 hours on weekday classes, bro. That was light work.
I remember.
I was like, you class at 1 o'clock and then you be up at 6:30.
Yeah. And then the brother, why y'all brothers tired? It's all in the mind.
It's all the mind, bro.
You got sleep, bro. You got to get 7 hours. You got 7 hours to shut up. Okay.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, and verse 14.
I'm just messing around. For those who know, they know. Read that up.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 14. For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable.
And this is the thing. The thoughts of mortal men are miserable. The thoughts that we don't allow people to confront and challenge, they're miserable. And this is what presses down on the body. Read on.
And our devices are but uncertain.
How we think, how we process things, how we deal with stress and problems are at best uncertain. And more times than not, they just don't work. Read on.
For the corruptible body presses down the soul, and the earthly tabernacle weighed down the mind that museth upon many things.
The problem is this, the things you don't get in the flesh. What was that verse? I think you showed to me a while ago about how a person's frustration is based on what they don't get in the flesh.
Yeah.
Anyway, look for that.
The morning of men is there.
Your body. Pull that verse from me real quick. I forgot.
You got it.
But read verse 15 again. So it's saying that corruptible body and the things you don't get in the flesh starts to press down on your spirit. And that's what makes getting up and doing your job for the Lord very difficult. And the problem, do you have that verse? Anybody get it?
41:11.
That's the one. That's definitely it. It's Ecclesiastes, right? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Captain. Ecclesiastes 41:11. Read that.
Come.
Ecclesiastes chapter 41, verse 11 reads, the mourning of men is about their bodies.
The mourning of men.
Not wake up in the morning.
The sadness.
The morning.
The mourning of men is what makes you not get up in the morning, guys. The sadness of what you're going through makes you not get up and function and operate the right way.
Yeah.
But the problem is, each and every one of us are dealing with things, and most of us, or a lot of us, choose not to talk about it. Choose not to vent about it. Choose not to vent with the mindset that somebody can actually give them solutions. Most of us, at best, will vent through yelling and arguing and cursing and being disrespectful, but won't allow other people to attack the thinking that keeps them in this perpetual state of mourning. A lot of times we think kindness and friendship is based upon you allowing me to vent. The real way is I have to vent, spew out whatever negative is in me, and I have to allow the teacher to challenge these sickening thoughts that I continue to muse on that presses my spirit down and weakens me on a consistent level. This is why we keep saying, listen, y'all got to talk. Y'all got to talk. Y'all got to talk. You have to talk so people can lay out the sickness so we can start attacking the sickness as it comes out.
Even in the medical world, they do that. They see something, they get a sample. They put under
Petri dish.
a petri dish, and they isolate They look, they magnify the glass. They see what are the, because not just one disease, it's just a cold virus. It might be 3 or 4 different viruses in one situation somebody's dealing with.
So you have to isolate and attack it. So, but the point is, you can't even help and heal somebody unless the sickness is revealed. Okay? So once again, what are we expressing right now? Let that verse in Ecclesiastes 41 go. Go back to Wisdom Solomon 9 and verse 15, just to explain the fact that the mind muses and debates and thinks on so many things, so many negative things that wears on your vitality, that wears on your strength, that wears on your ability to do well. Read on.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 15. For the corruptible body presseth down the soul, and the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind, that museth upon many things.
And that part of the problem is that we muse and meditate on too many negative carnal things that we can't control. But once again, all these things we muse on, we don't have proper filters. We keep this in, and eventually, like Psalms 32 says, it starts to weaken us, and we wax old behind all the things that were silenced, that we keep silent in our amongst brothers, in our marriages, in our relationships, in our friendships, the whole nine. Okay? So, we're going to let that go and jump to Luke 14, verse 28 through 30.
Luke chapter 14, verse 28.
Yep.
It says, For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it?
Now, when we start sitting back here and learning about serving the Lord, most of us aren't prepared and don't know to the extent of what you have to sacrifice in order to keep growing in this truth, right? I have heard this 1,000 times. Nobody told me I had to make all these changes when I came in. All I did, I read scriptures and I thought I was a Jew. I knew what tribe I was, and now I'm going to do this. Nobody told me how hard it was going to be. Nobody told me how many changes I had to make, right? Read on.
Verse 29. Lest haply, after he hath laid the foundation, and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him.
A lot of times we keep silent because we don't want to get mocked. A lot of times we keep silent because we don't want to be told. Really, what's in our heart is we want to quit. In our heart, we want to quit. And we're afraid to tell people that we want to quit. We're afraid to tell people that what's really in my heart. A lot of times we have all this silence and we keep this up in because we just don't have the stomach to tell people, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to live my own life. I don't think I have enough in me to finish. So there's a fear of looking bad. There's a fear of being shamed. There's a fear of being embarrassed. Because really, I don't have enough answers to fix what's inside of me, which has led me to the point that maybe this isn't for me. We talked about it briefly in Jeremiah chapter 15 and in Job 9. But we're here now. Okay, read on.
Verse 30. Saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish.
And this is a lot of times we keep things quiet because we don't want to say what's on our mind to get that thrown in our face. Because ultimately, the only way to prepare yourself or count the costs to finish this process is to do what? Read verse 33.
Verse 30. Luke chapter 14 and 33. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath, he cannot be my disciple.
The reality is this. In order to sit back and make it to the finish line, nothing else can matter but the finish line. Nothing else can matter in our pursuits than the finish line. And what's the finish line? Let me sit back here and do everything I got to in my power to please Christ. But too many of us, we want things in the flesh, and we're too ashamed to say what's really on our head. Because the funny thing is, even if we said what was on our heart, at least you're giving your teachers and counselors something to help you with.
Vulnerability.
If I tell a person my vulnerability, where my head is at least somebody can give you the medicine, even if it's the fact that I might want to quit. I've seen brothers that I know that's what's in their head. And they're walking, they're smiling, they're shucking and jiving with me. And they're, oh, brother! And then they're walking dead men. They're ready to walk off. I know it, but they got to say it.
Yep.
They got to say it so they can get the help. But they don't do it. What's that?
Can you post scripture back one little minute?
33?
Yeah, the same one you're on.
Read that again.
Luke chapter 14, verse 33. So, likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath.
Forsaking all that you have is also letting go of what you have, which is your what? Baggage. If you're not forsaking your baggage, it's hard to complete the race. It's hard to run a 25-mile race or a 50-mile race with a backpack full of rocks.
It's facts.
That's what the Jews want to do. For some reason, they want to run with a bag full of rocks, or maybe 2 bags full of rocks, and they're running this, saying this is such a hard race. And Buzz like, hey, open that bag up. Nope, you can't look in there. So I know it's a bunch of rocks.
They're heavy, man. What's going on, man?
You look
You
like
want to take these off your back, man?
brother. Why don't you let a brother help you with this? Nope, I can carry it. Trust me.
You're saying I'm weak?
I didn't say
You're saying I'm weak.
Nobody said.
You're saying I'm weak.
Nobody said that.
I'm not weak.
Take the bag off.
I'm not a weak man.
Okay, bro. We cannot get to the real problem. Now your knees are hurt. I got shin splints out. I'm tired. Well, really, you're running a race with a whole boulder on your back, or chips on your shoulders. But if you allow men to examine or help you let that baggage go, it's going to lighten your load so you can be efficient in this race.
Okay. So with all these things going on, you good with that?
Yep.
Let's let it go and jump. And that's another reason why we keep things quiet, because we're really afraid to say, I don't want to do this no more.
Yep.
If we say it, there might be shame with it, but then after the shame, you can get the answers you need to get strong. Let that go. Go to Job chapter 10, verse 1. This is another aspect of how our mind goes when we don't say anything, when we keep everything tied into ourselves. Job 10 and 1. Job 10 and 1. Job 10 and 1.
Somebody got it.
Job 10 and 1.
Job chapter 10, verse 1. My soul is weary of my life.
There we go, because that's where it gets to. My spirit is weary of this damn life. I'm tired of living. Well, listen, when you sit back and hold negative in for long stretches of time, you turn to Sam Cooke out. That's what Dawg said. But that Sam Cooke song, A Change Gonna Come, there was sadness there.
I was born by the river in Little 10.
Listen, he knew it was over after that. And I'm not trying to keep light of the spirit of the extremes that we go through when we let things keep things close. But this is it. You don't talk, you don't talk, you don't talk, you don't talk. You internalize. Pressure does what to pipes? It bursts them.
I don't know why I have these thoughts about just cutting myself.
Then you have extreme thoughts. You have suicidal thoughts. You have thoughts of hurting yourself.
I want to crash my car.
Or it goes with, then I'm drinking crazy.
Yep.
I'm drinking out of control. I'm isolated. I'm walking around with guns.
Death by cop.
This is the truth.
Cool.
I've seen a lot of people do this. And then you're making dangerous plays.
What if I jump?
Listen, most of us are too chicken to do that, but we'll put ourselves in dangerous situations.
Exactly.
We'll put ourselves in dangerous situations that threaten our life, because we just don't give a damn after a certain point.
Who cares?
Who cares? Nobody cares. Why should I care?
I'm tired of this.
This is what verse 1 is saying. My soul is weary of my life. So you start making extreme moves, extreme decisions.
Losing discretion.
Men,
when they're in this state, I hate to say it, but babies get born, diseases get got, all kind of things happen, all kind of reckless things happen because I don't care anyway.
We're on a self-destructive path.
I make a lot of mistakes in this vein of thinking.
This sad process that we play with, This keeps furthering us to more distance, more isolation. And the more we isolate our mind and our thoughts, the more extreme we get. The more reckless we get. The more dangerous we get. To ourselves. So, read verse 1 again.
Job chapter 10, verse 1. My soul is weary of my life. I will leave my complaint upon myself.
How many people just complain within? A lot of damn people. So what it's letting you know is the extreme thinking, the extreme dangerous positions we put ourselves in, go hand in hand with keeping your complaints inward. You complain, you internalize your sadness, and that ends up turning into frantic, chaotic decision making, reckless decision making. He's telling you all the signs that you need to see in yourself that you need help, that you need constant counsel, constant communication to get established with your spirit, to get control of your spirit. Yes.
I will speak in the bitterness of my soul.
But that's all internal. That bitterness stays deeper, and then your thoughts start getting dark. Then you stop caring. And when you stop caring, you get self-destructive. And you get more isolated, and the more you convince yourself that nobody cares about me anyway. Who's going to sit back here and miss me if I'm gone? And then the thoughts get worse and worse and darker and darker.
They get more morbid.
Yes.
When you say speaking the bitterness of my soul, sometimes we say stuff that we can't come back from. Words get said, statements get said, that when you think about it, it's like, man, I really should have said that. I was in my head. I was extreme. There was no thought behind that. And, and then there's even the shame of trying to apologize. You try to apologize for that in your mind. It's like, well, dang, he's already got that, or they already have that impression of me. So now I can't say that. And then that's even more.
And then they'll sit back and say, well, you know what? They're not going to forgive me anyway.
Yeah.
So let me go further into my zone.
Let me double down now and be this bad guy.
Listen, these are real things.
Yeah.
And we're going into classes like this to keep people out of their own head. Because we'll sit back and destroy ourselves from within without the help of anybody else.
You don't need some Chinese spy to destroy your life.
You're going to do it yourself. You could have said Russian. That's more.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, let's read. Let's go to James now. James chapter 5, verse 13.
I got it.
Got it.
James chapter 5, verse 13.
Through 20, but let me, we're going to do a little stopping here. James 5 and 13. Now, we understand that this is what we're supposed to do. But sometimes doing it is harder than anything. Okay? Read this.
James chapter 5 and 13. Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray.
First of all, how much do we pray? The thing is this. He's telling you, even sometimes the answer ain't just to speak to somebody. The first answer is you got to pray, man. How many of us pray consistently? Sometimes you got to pray yourself into eventually talking to someone. You got to pray and pray and pray. Because the crazy thing is this. If you don't feel the Most High is there with you, are the words of another human being going to do anything? It's not. So in order to get yourself back on track, you got to start praying. Because what does prayer do? Prayer tries to reestablish a relationship with the Heavenly Father. A rapport.
Yeah.
Communication.
I haven't talked to you in a while.
So I got to start talking all the time. Maybe in the process of me reaching out to the Heavenly Father on a daily basis, it can start getting me back into the spirit of eventually talking to brothers or sisters or people who can actually help you if you give them a chance. But the Most High understands, hey, you might not be ready to do that. So start praying to the Most High first. What's that, y'all?
I was going to say, sometimes, it's my personal experience, I'll pray right for something, and I'm really going through it, and I need to talk. I'll pray to ask the Most High to give me a way.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, like, right after I'm done, I get a phone call from a brother.
That's good.
And usually it's the brother I personally don't want to talk to.
Yep, there you go.
Pick up the phone, and then there goes 2 hours, and then
There you
there's
go.
the answer.
And everything's okay.
But it takes 2 hours, and I gotta be real, But it's just anyway.
Listen, that's great. The verse you pulled, give me that in Ecclesiastes 38, verse 9, because the Lord is giving us the solutions that we need to deal with these issues. He's telling you there's a way to get yourself initially out of the rut of not even talking to human beings. Ecclesiastes 38, verse 9.
God, Ecclesiastes chapter 38, verse 9. My son, in thy sickness, be not negligent.
Don't sit back here. It's like this. How many of y'all got a nasty cold, got a nasty sore throat? Well, I'm just going to sleep it off. It's going to be okay. Any brothers been all the time, they got like crazy sicknesses. And I'm like, you go to the doctor? Nah, man. What'd you do? Oh, lush.
I just watch some TV.
There you go. This what happened. Well, listen, you're sick as hell, you're coughing, you have the whooping cough, and all you're doing.
Not the natural cough.
I'm like, bro, you gotta go to the doctor, bro. I'll be honest, I just need sleep. No, that's not gonna get fixed.
Get out of here.
That's not gonna
Go
get
to Methodist.
sleep back. They're like, oh, the ER's gonna take forever. It's gonna take forever. Like, bro,
Get out of here.
that's okay. You gotta go to the ER regardless. I think that's been something that brothers have all gone through.
Yeah.
A lot of us have been that way, right? He says, in your sickness, be not negligent.
Negligent. What's that?
How are we negligent with our spiritual sicknesses? I got thoughts that are out of control. I'ma sleep it off. I feel like nobody cares about me. You know what? I'm gonna sit back here
Play video games.
and play video games. I don't feel anybody loves me and I'm alone. Let me sit there and go to the club. Let me drink some alcohol. This is being negligent in your sickness. That makes sense. We do it all the time. We know it's a spiritual sickness when we feed it with the flesh. And like we got a damn cold, but we're eating ham, going to Whataburger, knowing that we're sick as hell. How many people have done that? Man, I feel kind of weak. I feel like I got a damn flu coming along. I'm gonna go to Burger Boy real quick, man. Get a working man special. Why are you going to Burger Boy when you know you're not feeling good? And you feel weak?
I used to go to Popeye's Chicken Nut. You know?
Popeye's even worse.
If I'm sick already, if I'm already sick, then this thing ain't
What kind of craziness is that?
I'm already sick. I'm not gonna eat this.
Oh my God!
Let's kill a box.
How many biscuits are you getting on
I don't eat
Tuesdays?
biscuits, bro. I'm killing the box.
How many boxes are you getting?
This one.
This two? This is 2 pieces?
Family
Nah,
size.
I'm getting the man I can get in the box. The one piece you can fit in the box, you gotta get it there, right? Nice and crispy. Right?
Oh my
Already
God! Is that like 5? How many is that, man?
The number doesn't matter.
No, what box? A small box or a
No,
big box?
it's the family box.
Whatever box they got. Stuff the birds in there.
The birds.
Stuff the birds
The
in there.
birds must be stuffed.
I'm already sick. Brothers, I'll get sick. I'm already sick.
So you just make all the grease is gonna make you sicker.
Let's just go to the Popeyes. All the spices might make you feel a little better.
All the spices are gonna counteract all the grease.
All that
Huh?
spice, you know,
Oh
It's kinda
my
helping
God!
you.
Oh, you put the honey on the chicken, you'll be okay.
Exactly.
The honey will help you, right?
that's what Jews do. Right?
Listen, it sounds insane, but we do the same thing with spiritual problems. When you're sad, when you feel alone, you don't read the scriptures. You don't pray. You don't do spiritual things to remedy fleshly problems. Read chapter 38, verse 9 again.
God, Ecclesiastes 38, 9. My son, in thy sickness be not negligent, but pray unto the Most High, and he will make thee whole.
At least when you pray, that starts the rolling in the motion of the Most High sending you the help that you need. Because when you sit back and read Matthew chapter 7, the scripture, it says, ask, seek, and knock. So the prayer is the initial process of doing the seeking you need to get the answers. Okay? It doesn't mean that mankind and brothers and counselors isn't part of the equation, but that constant prayer starts you on the path of getting developed and getting worked on. Put that down, man.
I was just.
I know I was messing with you. No, you're good.
No,
No, we're good. We're good. The thing cut off, and that's what it was. So let's read that real quick again. Ecclesiastes 38.
God, verse 9. My son, in thy sickness be not negligent,
Mm-hmm.
but pray unto the Most High, and he will make thee whole.
Once again, this is about praying, communicating to the Most High to help you start getting out of that rut of sadness, that rut of isolationism. That's important.
And
Oh, you
not
finished
getting
that verse?
and
That
not
was in the 9.
furthermore not getting momentum.
You
People
have to
tired,
break that
people
negative
get
moment.
tired of losing.
Yeah.
I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of not winning or not being successful.
And sadness.
Yeah.
Kind. So it starts with prayer, but it starts with consistent,
Yeah.
fervent prayer.
Yeah.
Okay? Where is that verse? There's a verse about fervent prayer. I think it's in James. This is availeth much.
Yes,
That was
James,
much.
James 5:16. Sir.
Then we're going to keep going. Then let's keep going in James. Let's go back to James.
James 5, verse 13.
So,
Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing songs.
You know what I like even the second part? If you're happy, sing songs. Sing songs. It lets you know, even when I'm in a good place, you should operate spiritually there. If I'm down, pray. How many of us sit back here when things are going good, we're singing prayers and psalms? That even helps us train our mind, even when things are good, praise the Most High. When things are bad, pray and praise the Most High. It keeps you spiritual on both polarities.
Yeah.
Okay, read on.
Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church, and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord.
Do you think that's just physical sickness? But but once again, if you're sick and you're spiritually sick, the elders are getting called anyway. The elders are being shown and told about your condition. He's letting you know you can't even begin to get healed unless you start conveying to the people around you what's ailing you. So it still initiates with prayer. But then after the prayer, you still done with counseling, communication. It just starts with prayer.
so prayer
You
gets the ball
praying,
rolling.
you praying personally, you communicating about your problem so other men can pray for you. Then we start getting to the nitty gritty of the issues, which is what's going on with you. Read on.
And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up. And if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven him.
This is still about what? If I'm physically sick, brothers praying for one another can help a person through their sickness. If it's about if I'm sick and based upon my sins, the prayer of brothers, the Most High will sit back here and listen to the prayer so he would help forgive you for your sins, to give you a clean slate. So you can move forward and try to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish in your battles. How many times do we not communicate because we don't think the Most High is listening? Or how many times do we not communicate because we don't think the Most High is going to forgive you for what you've already done? He's telling you, if you confess your sins and brothers pray over you, your sins will be forgiven. And you'll get that clean slate. How many of us need a clean slate? With hopes the Most High will sit back here and give you that clean slate. Remember what David said in chapter 33 of Psalms? Blessed is that person that gets that clean slate. So there is a power of prayer that will help you overcome that guilt. How many of us keep silence based on guilt and sadness from all the mistakes I've made in the past? That keeps a person quiet too.
That's the goal. The goal is to keep you silent. Those spirits,
And I got a verse to pull that.
Cool.
But the goal is to keep you isolated. You got to keep everything out in the front. So the Most High can physically bless you. And you can psychologically stop beating yourself up about you're not going to be forgiven for your issues. Read on.
God. Confess your faults one to
Matter
another.
of fact, hold that. Timothy 4:14. We're going to go back to the verse.
1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 13,
14.
14. Neglect not the gift that is in thee.
You're not supposed to neglect what the Most High has given you as far as a talent and an ability. Read on.
Which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on the hands of the presbyter.
What it's saying is, on top of your gift that the Most High gave you, don't neglect the laying on the hands of the presbytery. The laying of the hands on the by the presbytery are the elders putting their imprint on you, teaching you, counseling you, working on your spirit, directing you, and working on the issues that you got. I've always felt you have the strength you have, but you have teachers and counselors to help augment the things in you that you need work on. But that also means I have to allow my teachers in so they can help me. Too many times we walk around here as young men and we don't let the teachers help us. And then we're sad and dejected about why I'm not growing. You have to let your teachers in so they can help you grow. Too many of us are operating just off of our God-given abilities and talents and our God-given strengths.
Which the scripture says against that.
No, well, there's nothing wrong with having your strengths.
But it says, cursed be the man that maketh flesh his arm.
And that's
It's
it.
only your strength. Only your power.
And that's why we're supposed to sit back and allow the laying of the hands of the presbytery to help augment what you've already got. Okay? Now we go back to James chapter 5. Give me verse 16 now. What's up? What's up? I missed it. What you got? You got something?
No, it was the point. It was the point.
Yeah. Go there. Verse 12. Read verse 12 in Ecclesiastes. I didn't see it when you were pointing. You know, my phone's on vibrate, so I don't see.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 12.
Yep, that's a good one.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 12. It says, Then give place to the physician, for the Lord hath created him. Let him not go from thee, for thou hast need of him.
What does that mean? When a counselor is asking you, when the elder is like, what's going on? You have any problems? You need to talk. No, I'm good. Stop doing that. You have physicians who can help you. Don't let the physician walk off if you have problems.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll be a witness of this. I'll be in the truck all day with a brother. There'll be it'll be two people, but there'll be two opposite spirits in the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a 13-hour day or a 10-hour day where we'll have long drives. And I'm quite sure.
I mean, that happens. The tension's there because the tension is created when one party has to establish the teaching aspect or the instruction aspect. Because if it's just about being friends, being cool, enjoying each other's presence, there's not as much issues in the truck. But the second you got to correct, all of a sudden it gets uncomfortable. All of a sudden you got to force the conversation again because the next conversation is going to be, so how do we transition from here now? You know what I mean?
The transition is just.
What was the next step?
The correction was a good thing for me. Why has it got to be a transition?
Because it didn't feel good. That's why. I didn't like that. I low-key didn't like that correction. And I high-key don't agree with it. But
low-key don't like the correction. And high-key don't agree.
But this is the issue. Now, the ones that are a little more mature can bounce back quicker. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that we run from that the healing process.
Got it. Yeah. Listen, we'll get to a couple verses towards as we go on that kind of explain that. Where are we in James 5?
James chapter 5 and verse 16. Confess your faults one to another, and pray one for another, that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much.
So he's letting us know that prayer works, but prayer should start the process of confession. Okay? Prayer to the Heavenly Father is what should catapult you to confession to actually get healed. Okay? Read it again, verse 16.
Come on. James chapter 5, verse 16. Confess your faults one to another, and pray one for another, that ye may be healed.
What do we do first? If anybody is afflicted, let them pray. Once you pray, then you got to sit back here and let the elders pray for you, which means you got to confess what's going on with you for them to pray for you. Then as you're confessing your faults and brothers are praying for you, now you have the body involved in your rehabilitation. And when this process happens, then you'll be healed. But this is the process. If I'm not ready to physically tell somebody I have a problem, then I need to pray on it every day to the Father until I am prepared to go to the next step, which is communication about my sickness. And then the whole body knows what's going on with you, and then we can all help you get fixed. If this is what you need, if this is, you're saying you need help, this is how you get help. Am I right or wrong? Now we're going to go into in a couple verses why we don't go through this. There is another reason. But let's continue. The
effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much.
When a righteous man is praying for you, that goes a long way. So it's advantageous to do what? Confess to your elders. Because you have a better chance of the Most High winking at your sins and sending all the help you need to get rehabilitated. Does that make sense? Okay, read on.
Elijah was a man subject to like passion.
Meaning Elijah was a man like everybody else was, and he had flaws and impulses like everybody else does. Read on.
And he prayed earnestly that it might not rain.
Mm-hmm.
And it rained not on the earth by the space of 3 years and 6 months.
Now, do we have that kind of works and awesomeness to us for the Most High to listen to our prayers like that? No. But Paul is saying that if one man can pray and get his prayers listened to, another man can pray and get his prayers listened to. Read on.
And he prayed again, and the heaven gave rain, and the earth brought forth her fruit.
I don't know if you remember that. The rain happened, and then he sat back here and sprinted and beat a horse chariot to the city.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Brother, most like he had like 4-2 speed.
Turn him up.
4-1 speed act. Because he sprinted and beat the king on his horse and chariot to the damn city he was supposed to get to.
He let him go down the hill first, and then he took off.
It's crazy. That's another story, but that was a great reminder. Like this, Mosai was with that man. Anyway, these guys, and it was a famine, so he was starved.
That's why it's so fast. Huh?
No, listen, that's not why. Listen, the famine is why he was running 4-1 act, and he was outrunning horses act. No, it wasn't the famine, bro.
He was also the guy that when the officers came and they was trying to force him to come to him, he sent fire down.
That was understood.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Elijah.
And a lot of the prophets of that time wanted to be like him. Hell, even the disciples wanted to be like Elijah. They asked Christ, "Can I get his power?" Everybody wanted Elijah's power. Right? Four flat speed, the power to bring fire down on heaven. This guy was out of this world praying, and there's famines and there's droughts for 6 years, bro. Anyway, what does Peter say? Even Peter admired. Paul's just saying, listen, if Elijah can pray and the Most High listens, you can pray and the Most High listens, right? Read on.
God.
Verse 19.
Brethren, if any of you do err from the truth, and one convert him.
So now we're dealing with the process of converting somebody from their sinful ways after they've been afflicted for such a long time. He's explaining the process of rehabilitation. You're afflicted, you're in your head, you're in this cycle of negativity. You got to send your prayers up. You got to pray until you gain the courage to approach the brothers or the sisters about your problems. Approaching the right brothers and sisters about your problems. And then once that happens, allow the heads to actually pray for you and work with you. In the process of brothers and sisters working with you, this is the process of converting a person from wickedness to righteousness, from sin to trying to live right. Read on. Verse 20.
Let him know that he which converteth the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death, and shall hide a multitude of sins.
And this is why you counsel for days and nights and weeks and months and years to help a brother rehabilitate. You do it because you love your people. But on the flip side, if you can help somebody change and overcome monumental flaws in themselves, You don't think the Most High is going to look at your flaws and wink at some of them because of the patience you had to help rehabilitate somebody else? This is why you work on people who have issues and don't run from the burden. We're so caught about how much time I'm losing on the phone with this person or on the phone with this person. All that work you're putting to help somebody get fixed, that's going to sit back and wipe off some of those nasty blemishes you got on your record.
Yeah.
We got a nasty record, man. You better sit back and put some work in to fix that crappy record we got. Am I right or wrong? Okay, so the question goes back. With all this understanding, why don't people still talk about their problems? Why don't they confess knowing these verses? We pulled these verses before, right or wrong? Why do we still not talk? Now we're going to go to Job chapter 16. Give us the answer as to why. Job 16, verse 1 through 10. Well, I'm going to say this. Maybe this helps. I don't know, man.
I think it helps.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll hope.
Because sometimes we don't know why. We just do what they do.
See, when you hear what Job says in the midst of his battle, you're going to sit back and say, yeah, I've heard this before in counsel. Read this. Job chapter 16, verse 1. We're going to read down to verse 10. And then we're going to, it was 1 through 10, sir. It's 1 through 10, then we're going to jump to 20 and 21. 1 to 10, then 20 to 21. And then we're going to add some verses in between. Okay, read that. Matter of fact, give me
Job chapter 16,
Job 4:7.
verse 1.
Yeah, read that, sir.
Then Job answered and said...
Now listen, don't forget, when you read Job, Job lost his kids. He lost his property. He lost his finances. He lost his animals. He lost everything that made a man potent and financially strong. So now he had his friends, his counselors, people that he trusted. He was talking about the issues he was going through while his body was all boiled up and he was in extreme pain through the physical afflictions the Most High allowed Satan to put on him. So he's sitting back here and listening to these responses. Okay? Now, let's read.
Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things.
I have heard many of these counsels and these angles that you guys have given me through my problems. Read on.
Miserable comforters are ye all.
You guys are miserable comforters, Zach. You guys are giving me bad counsel angles, Zach. You guys are giving me miserable counsels about what I'm going through. Okay?
What does that really mean?
I'm going to go there. This is the situation. A lot of times, we don't feel that in the midst of our battle, we're going to get the counsel that we need. A lot of times, we feel we're going to get bad counsel, or we're going to get counsel that makes us feel worse about ourselves. Right? I mean, I have sat back here and given a brother has called me, and I've given him counsel, and hey, I didn't call you to get an answer. I just called you to talk.
That's how I called for.
I didn't call. I didn't call for you to give me an answer. I just called just to vomit. Like we're wasting time now. Then we're wasting damn time. Then I'll get off the phone. You can talk to whoever the hell you want to talk to and just complain. But if we want to sit back and talk about a problem, you got to get a solution. So in the mental place where Job is at, he's like Eliphaz and all the guys you guys are miserable comforters. Read on.
Verse 3. Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeneth thee that thou answerest?
He says, what is motivating you to give these damn answers?
Some bad answers.
But the question is this. Were the answers really that bad? Hold this and go to Job chapter 4 and 7.
Job 4 and
Job chapter 4 and verse 7. Yeah, get it, my Waller.
Come. Job chapter 4 and verse 7 reads, Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off?
So what was this counselor Eliphaz saying? All these bad things are happening to you. Before you start sitting back here as a counselor or a teacher, I can't start playing the violin for you first until I sit back here and get you to understand, hey man, what are you doing wrong? And what has been going on in your house for the Most High to hit you like this?
So are you saying that the counselor's duty and responsibility before the Father is to initiate the spirit of accountability first?
That's the point. That's the point I'm saying. Our job is to tell you that we have to sit back and go through like with a fine-tooth comb everything you're doing on a daily basis. How are you carrying yourself? How are you acting? Why is this affliction hitting you? It's our responsibility as teachers to go down this path first. Before we start sitting back here and empathizing with you and saying you're just having a rough break, my brother.
Yeah.
You got to go, what? You hardly know? Go to St. John chapter 9, verse 1 through 3 to replace the 1 Timothy 1. It shows you, what we're going to read is the same thing that the disciples responded when they saw a person through adversity.
St. John chapter 9, verse 1. And as Yahushua passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth.
So, once again, listen, the disciples in Christ saw a man that was blind from his birth. Read on.
And the disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did this sin? This man or his parents?
So they're asking, who sinned for this child or this person to be born a baby that's blind? Did the parents sin? Did the mother and father sin? And their retribution for sinning is having a blind son? Or did this blind child from birth, did he sin? But how can a baby in the womb sin? It can't. So that baby who was born blind, the question was, did this person sin in their previous life? But listen, we've gone through this verse 1,000 times. But what is the thinking of a teacher or a disciple or a learned man of the Most High? The thinking is this. Before I start having all this sympathy for what you have or have not done, I got to go into what have you not done? What do you have to fix inside of you? We got to teach you to be accountable.
Yep.
But once again, we're going to read the verse, keep going.
It said, we're in
Verse 3.
2.
Verse 3.
Got you. It says, and Yahushua answered, neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of the Most High should be made manifest in him.
So the answer is you still have to dig and see, is there any personal accountability you have to fix in yourself first? And if you sit back as a counselor and you dig and you figure that out, and you realize that this person's works was consistent, then you can go to the next phase and say, okay, this is the Most High that's putting him through a battle. Right? But why am I going into this explanation? Because a lot of us feel abandoned. A lot of us feel that the counselor and the teacher doesn't care. Because their first line of questioning is, Most High is putting you through something. And you got to be focused on what the Most High is teaching you if you want the Most High on your side. And that dynamic of advisors and counselors teaching individuals to look inward first in the midst of Job's suffering is why Job felt, you're giving me miserable comfort. But this is how we think. In the midst of our sadness, in the midst of our heartbreak, do you want to hear you chose the wrong woman? No. Do you want to hear you made bad decisions and that's why you're sad the way you are? No. When your boyfriend breaks your heart, you want to say, yeah, but shitty taste of men. That's why you're sad. That's why he bounced on you. I don't want to hear that. It's not comforting. What's the truth? And this is why people say, such things miserable comforters are you all. And this is why a lot of times we don't want to talk about the issues. We don't want to confess our faults. We don't want to talk about the issues that bother us because we don't want to hear. We don't want to feel even worse than what we are. This is why we keep things quiet, huh? You're tearing my spirit down.
My confidence.
You're tearing my confidence down. This is what Job is saying. Like, man, you're not comforting me in my time of need. But can you go comfort mode when you're trying to find out why the Most High is banging on you like this? You can't go that way initially. You got to go spiritual. What are you doing to put you in this situation? And the crazy thing is, most brothers have heard counsels go on for the beginning of time, but they keep silent because they don't want to get put through the ringer. They don't want to get put through the ringer of what you could have did. Why didn't you change this? You need to be more accountable here. A lot of times people don't want to hear that they got to be more accountable. They just want to hear that it's going to be okay. And you know what? That's not the solution.
Not real life.
You're not going to get a solution to your problem, even though you want to feel like it's going to be okay and you want to hear comforting words. You're not going to get the comforting words you need because you need to learn the lesson that the Most High is trying to give you. Or at least you have to allow your counselors to pry and prod and question and dig and question your intentions and question your mindset. Because when you read the dialogue between Job and his compatriots, they kept saying, listen, man, Most High just don't bang on people for no reason. What are you doing? What's been happening in your household? How have you been thinking towards the Most High? And in Job's response, well, hey, I haven't been doing nothing wrong. I've been doing this, I've been doing this. But this is how the proper counsel goes. But what am I explaining? A lot of times we keep quiet, we don't communicate because we don't want to be scrutinized.
And counsel this.
Does that make sense? And we would rather avoid the scrutiny. We rather avoid the what do you call it? The magnifying glass. We're going into all of your affairs, and we're CSIing people. And people don't want to get CSI. People just want to say it's going to be okay. And that's not what your spirit needs. You might want it. You might crave it. It might make you feel good temporarily, but that's not what you need.
And we think our silence is a defense versus letting the Most High be your defense.
Done.
Because the Most High was the one that defended Job. If you truly are on point, the Most
You'll
High,
let somebody scrutinize you and prod and prick.
because you're innocent.
Yes.
But the person that cannot be examined, that's a sign of guilt.
Yes. Yep. And that's the truth. So, let's go back to Job 16 and 33. 16 and 3, Salakia.
Job chapter 16, verse 3.
Did that make sense to y'all? Because that's in a very important part of the class that a lot of times we don't want to be told that we have the flaw in the first place. We don't want our inner intentions exposed to look and feel vulnerable. So it keeps us back from getting the real answers we need anyway. Continue.
Job chapter 16, verse 3. Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeneth thee that thou answerest?
Because in his head, all this pricking and prodding is in vain because I didn't do nothing. But how do they know that? You live in your land 200 damn miles away from it. So let me sit back here and do proper investigation to find out where your head is at.
Due process.
Read on.
I also could speak as you do. If your soul were in my soul's stead.
He said, I can sit back and do the same interrogation. And you know what? Job would do the same interrogation if he was in their stead, if he was in their position. Read on.
I could heap up words against you and shake my head at you.
But this is how a person feels when a counselor or elder is just doing their job. When a counselor, a teacher, or a husband is just trying to get to the bottom of a situation, a person's response is, you're just heaping your words against me. Or you're using my words against me.
Yeah.
Or you're
shaking your head at me. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You suck. You're making me feel low. You suck. I disapprove of everything you do. I don't like the shirt you wear in the morning. I don't like the socks you choose in the morning. Listen, the hair gel you put on sucks. Everything sucks about you. This is what a person is afraid of having to deal with. And this is the truth. People hate the feeling of being rejected and being scrutinized and made low. And this is what Job is saying. He's like, I can heap up words against you and shake my head against you. But is that what his friends are trying to do?
It's not the goal.
His friends are trying to help him. But in
You're
Job's
not helping.
vulnerable,
You're not helping.
In Job's
You're not
vulnerable
helping.
position,
God,
he's like, you guys are bullying me.
you're not
You're
helping.
bullying me. You're picking on me. You're using everything I've said in the past, and you're throwing it in my face right now. Is that not how brothers think in the midst of counsel things go? Or a wife says to
Give
their
no
husband,
evidence.
"You're just sitting back here and just making me feel lower than I am. You're not worth feeding my spirit and building my. You're tearing my
I
spirit
will tell
down.
you nothing ever again. I will never tell you anything ever. They're not every syllable. They're pronounced
I
every
will
word.
never."
I will never tell you anything ever again. Oh my God.
That's how E40 out here at.
So they mean every word they say out their mouth.
I am never going to sit back and do this again.
Tell me I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you right now.
Right now. Okay. Sorry. I'm just doing my job. But this is the feeling.
Give me another teacher, another elder, another husband,
Somebody's going to
life,
support me.
another life.
Like, damn, bro.
Wow.
But you know what? That came from back right in the belly. That came from there.
This is where the spirit
sternum.
goes. When the spirit's running from that examination dissection process.
But this is the point. This is why people don't speak. This is why people don't communicate. This is a reason why they don't communicate. Because they're so concerned with judgment, people looking down on them, and they don't want to accept that the correction is to help you. The correction is to build your spirit up. The correction is only to, we might go through the discomfort of analyzing and digging and pricking and prodding, but eventually it's to help you.
So you're saying the issue is that on top of this communication process, I'm also dealing with immaturity.
That exactly, it's an immaturity because I'm emotional. And I can't detach my emotional state with the message that's there to help me. There's a message there, and we have to get past how emotional we're taking the message, how the message is making me feel. Even Job, well, listen, this message is making me feel uncomfortable. You're not supporting me in this situation. You're attacking me. But isn't that every day at the blank and blank address the brother's house is what happens? Or 4444 is happening here? Or Anytown USA at your house when you're counseling your family? The thinking that you're against me, you have to get past that before a person can receive the message. And after X amount of times, people just start shutting down because they don't like how that correction process feels. And a lot of times, you have to dig and say things and check and correct and say uncomfortable things until you get to the real issue. Is anybody in here mind readers? Nobody's a mind reader. We're doing the best with the information that is provided to us. So as we're trying to counsel, we're trying to understand, sometimes things are going to be said that may offend. But can you get past that for the sake of gaining the understanding that you need to grow?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us can't. So a lot of us, in order to run from that feeling of being sad, run from that feeling of the idea that you're shaking your head at me or that you are in complete disapproval of me, I won't say anything and I'll just rot inside. Because I don't want to feel disapproval from you. And this is why we don't communicate. It's why we don't have a habit of confessing. Because we hate to feel the shame of the process that's necessary to find out what the problem is. Let's continue.
Job chapter 16 and verse 5. But I will strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips should assuage your grief.
So what Job is saying is, if I was in your shoes, he says, I would strengthen you with my mouth. And he says, the moving of my lips should assuage your grief. He's saying what you should be doing is making me feel better through my difficult times. And your communication should take away how bad I feel about my condition and how bad I feel about myself. This is what Job is saying. But the reality is that takes time. You have to investigate and dig before you get to the comforting side of it. And it might take weeks and weeks and weeks of digging and pricking and prodding until a teacher can properly understand what you're going through. Matter of fact, can you put that verse where it says about correction, and it says it may be that he may not have done it?
Ecclesiastes 19.
Yes, because that will kind of explain the process of
Verse
how
13.
counsel goes. You said what?
19 and verse 13.
That's Ecclesiastes, you said?
Mm-hmm. 13 through...
No, what chapter is it?
Oh, 19. Yeah, 19.
19 verse what?
13 and 14.
Okay.
And through 16, because it goes right into the other part.
Okay, let me
About the slipping with the tongue. But not getting by heart.
Okay, let's do it.
Come. Ecclesiastes 19 and verse 13.
that's
Admonish
right.
a friend. It may be he have not done it.
But once again, the scripture tells you to go into that inspection mode, in that correction mode. And in the process of that correction mode, it might not be exactly what the answer is or the issue is, or it might not feel good when they're bringing it out. But regardless, it's that teacher's responsibility to go the extra way and do that correction, even though it's not right. And this is what Eliphaz and Job's counselors are doing. They're not assuaging his grief. They're not making his situation feel better. They have to sit back and check and admonish just to make sure that that's not the problem. But as these men are covering their grounds and covering their path, they're not making Job feel emotionally supported. Isn't that how we all feel when we're getting checked?
Yep.
I'm not being emotionally supported. I don't think you're really considering how stressed out or how tense I am today. But the teacher can't take that position. I have to admonish first. I have to assume you're doing something wrong. And then after I dig and I prick and I prod, then I realize, okay, it's not that. Maybe you're just battling something and the Most High's got you going through this. But the student has to allow the teacher to go through the negative assumptions to work his way back to the clarity and to the counsel that you need to hear and listen to. Does that make sense?
Classically, at a mall council, why is there low production? When you call every customer, you're going through a checklist of common issues, bro. If you had a broken phone, they have a book, they go through a list of common issues that why your iPhone's not working. They say, did you drop it in water? Did you sit here and get an internet virus? Did you sit here and drop it, then say you dropped it? Why is this phone not working? At a mall,
Try to reset it. Try to reset the phone.
At the mall, did you press reset? I mean, did you clean the cart? Is the cart clean? Did you do inventory? Did you call the customers? Are you sitting the 5 steps of communication with the people? Are you calling only women? Are you calling women and men? You go through those steps, and then after you get a readout, then the Spirit will show you, okay, well, maybe he's dealing with this. And start going that. Spirit will tell you what direction to go after you go through the common checklist of most common issues in that arena. Israel can't even get to the council. They can't get to the point of the council. They get mad that they're being examined, which is pride.
And being emotional. This is what Job is dealing with. He's upset about the fact that he's not being comforted through his losses.
Yeah.
He's being psychoanalyzed and admonished to make sure he was doing things the right way. And he didn't like how this process was going. Read on in Ecclesiastes 19 and 13 from the top again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 19 and verse 13. Admonish a friend. It may be he have not done it. And if he had done it, that he do it no more.
The point is this, whether he did it or not, it's the teacher's job to do the correction. We're not doing that student a service if you don't check. Read on.
Admonish thy friend. It may be he have not said it. And if he have, that he speaketh not again.
So once again, there's times you correct somebody, and it might not be how you thought it went down. But for the sake of being right with the Father, you have to go through the process. But in the process of correcting on a possible issue that a person didn't do, how is the student going to feel? You don't care. You're not supporting me. You're not giving me comforting words. You're not making me feel
Where's the
okay.
love here?
There's no love here, whether it's from men, brother to brother, husband to wives, so forth and so on.
Where's the brotherhood?
But we have to understand that this is the process that has to go down before you get the positive affirmations. Before you get lots, I have to know that I know that I know that you didn't do anything wrong. Before you can be comforted and backed for doing right. Read on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 19, verse 15. Admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander, and believe not every tale.
So listen, I might not believe the report, but I have to question the report. Listen, Job's friends, out of nowhere, Job loses everything. Why wouldn't they do all this investigation? Why wouldn't they assume that there was something negative he did? Were they wrong? Yes. But they were right for attempting to give him a lesson about what he could have done better if that was even the case in the first place. Does that make sense?
God.
I'm bringing it back to our situation because as Israelites and as brothers, we've been around enough counsels to know how the counsel game goes. You're guilty until proven innocent. This is the truth. And you know, but that process has to happen because at least the teachers are doing their job. And because we don't want to go through that experience frequently, we see enough people go through it, we do what? We shut down. We keep quiet because we don't want to sit back here and be on the quote-unquote chopping block, the spotlight on us. But the spotlight, like Dawiyad said, if you haven't done nothing, there's nothing to be afraid of. All the talking that Eliphaz and Teman and these men gave and all the tongue lashings they gave Job, when it really boiled down to it, didn't the Most High sit back here and give him back what he lost? Double fold? So he might have got checked or investigated roughly for a small period of time, but if you didn't do nothing wrong, you're going to get blessed anyway. But what if you were doing wrong? You need the correction. And the admonishment was warranted. So either way, going through it is what's necessary. Yes, sir.
And, you know, for those, the presbyteries or the physicians, for those that counsel, it says for many times. So we can't just, oh, it's one time, oh, this brother did it again. It's going to happen for many times.
And that's why, for the teacher or the presbytery, it talks about read verse 17.
God. Admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him.
So it's not about threatening. It's not about being emotional. It's not about holding some grudge against. I done told you 4 times, stop eating the chicken like that. This is not about that. It's not about threatening like that. Listen, it's not about that. I got to be able to counsel and detach personal biases as much as possible while I'm counseling.
This is why brother that's a question for us. But did you do this? No, I didn't do it. Are you sure you didn't do this? Okay, I did. Then you go into then you go into
That happens a lot too.
the real counsel. But it's giving that benefit of the doubt because even the admonishment isn't to run brothers away. It's actually the Most High put it in here to allow us to have a better way of conversating with one another. So we're not just always in war mode, chastise, angry man mode. He's allowing us to operate to where we can be civil. We can have that civil conversation if the other person is being honest.
But the problem is, and we take admonishment as is threatening.
Yeah.
We take a simple correction as you're shaking your head at me and you're tearing me down and you're breaking my spirit. And that's when we can't get anything done. Because any type of basic correction for your benefit is an attack. And now we're going to go to war. So we're going to go to war on basic help. Or I'm just going to shut down and be a robot and deal with this sadness inside until I'm a walking time bomb and I explode. Those are the two options. But this is how it goes down. It's immaturity and lack of an ability to take correction as admonishment, which is help for my spirit. And understand when you're getting chastised, stop fighting it. Know that this is to help you. It's not an attack. But once again, Let that go. Go back to Job chapter 16. Go and read verse 4 down.
Job chapter 16, verse 4. I also could speak as ye do, if your soul were in my soul's stead. I could heap up words against you and shake mine head at you.
Because that's what Job feels. You guys are judging me.
Easily
You're
judged.
looking down on me.
Yep.
You're attacking me because I'm the down man right now. I'm the wicked man. Read on.
But I will strengthen you with my mouth.
If it was up to me, and if I was in your position, I would be strengthening you. Read on.
That's how I think you should counsel.
But you know, the reality is, he's only saying that because he knows what he's going through. But how do they know? Read on.
And the moving of my lips should assuage your grief.
All the words in the yippity yak that's being talked about should be making me feel better, not tearing me down. Because if I was in your situation, I'd be making me feel better in this situation. Read on.
Though I speak, my grief is not assuaged. And though I forbear, what am I eased?
I'm dealing with what you're saying, but it's not helping me at all. Everything I'm listening to, all the fire and brimstone, and I'm the bad guy and I sinned, is not making me it's not comforting me in this entire situation. Read on.
But now he hath made me weary.
Now you're just wearing me out. You're stressing me out. Telling me how jacked up I am. Read on.
Thou hast made desolate all my company.
You sit back here. My entire company is all jacked up now, bro. All my friends that are coming to help me, it's all gone bad. Because all you guys have done is sit what I'm off at.
Because what he's doing is, he thought his friend would come through, hug him,
Yeah.
cry with him, be
Yes.
like, which they did.
And wear sackcloth with them and everything's going to be out.
Let's be sad together.
Yes. But,
That's
that's what men want.
Men
That's
want,
the point.
oh, my rib left out. Oh, I'm crying.
I too thirst. I too thirst.
We both lost some ribs. Oh, cool. Was you going crazy now?
Let's
Were
get
you a lion?
Let's get the
in this house?
ukulele in here.
Exactly.
It's like, you gotta be the ukulele, not the guitar. It's the ukulele. That one that makes you just feel real bad when you play it out.
Oh,
those Hawaii guitars out.
yeah, those sad. Like, well, I mean, we had a couple.
Yeah.
I only choked her one time. Oh, you
Come
only
on, bro.
choked her one time.
That's the thing. So what are we saying?
So listen, I'm gonna try to get to the point I'm trying to get to is the elders have to go through the most common issues, and then once we go through the common issues, if that's not the case, now we gotta do more. We gotta take the microscope. Because that's what they do when they examine disease. They do a level 1 magnification. They do what? Level 2 magnification.
Mm-hmm.
And then the counsel gets more detailed. And then it gets more detail until you get to the Spirit of the Most High shows you what part of the counsel to zero in on at that moment.
Yeah. So once again, but people want to be confident when they're going through problems. They want to be confident when they're going through problems versus getting the solution that they need.
Yep.
Get the solution that you need first. Comfort comes second. But because we know the admonition is coming first, we keep it secret because we don't want to feel the shame and the sadness and the more isolation about what's inside, what we're going on in our life.
I feel even worse.
You're judging me. You're making me feel low. I don't want to feel low. I need a friend right now. And that's when you sit back and go to the dope man. Yep. He's a friend.
He's finna win.
I'm your pusher. I'm your lover. I'm your daddy. I'm the something say in the alley. I'm your pusher.
Counseling work, did it?
That's the truth. Yeah. That's the truth. That's what people go to, right?
Yeah. It's my last resort.
That's the comfort. Yeah. But the comfort is through the admonishment and eventual considerations that you get from counsel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue.
Job 16:8. And thou hast filled me with wrinkles.
All you guys doing is stressing me out about more things I didn't do. I didn't do right. This is crazy. You might want to come on. Yeah, I think it's. Listen. Oh, are we there? Say it again. Say that verse again. I'm sorry.
Verse 8. And thou hast filled me with wrinkles, which is a witness against me, and my leanness rising up in me beareth witness to my face.
So when he said, think about this. He's like, all this counseling is getting me more stressed out in the face, more negative looking in the face. And then what do brothers do when your face gets all negative? See, I see that wickedness in you, man.
That's that counts.
See, that wickedness is see, you can't take the correction. You got sin and you got pride in you, brother. And brothers don't want to go through all that crap, right? Like all these things you're saying is making me more stressed out.
But this is the biblical
This
process.
is how people think. This is how brothers think. Why go through this counsel? Because you're sitting back here looking at me in the mind of Shabbat. Then I get a majim, and as my face for see this calmness is changing. Huh? There's wickedness there. There's wickedness there. We gotta talk about the wickedness of his face. He's like, listen, bro, all these wrinkles and stress you're putting me through, bro, it's a witness against me. I'm listening to all this stuff you're telling me, and my face is showing me that I'm not feeling you, which is making these counsels be even that much longer. Now I'm gonna be here even that much longer talking about how wicked I am because I can't take the check
But how
the Most High is giving me.
But how about this could have been prevented if you had counseled a little bit every day? If you had a pattern of counseling every day, then we could have got past all the theatrics of counseling. And brothers like, oh, this brother's dealing with this. Oh, this brother's dealing with that. Because you have a daily communication. But you haven't counseled in 10 years.
Then your face is getting all weird.
All the theatrics and all the you gotta go through the whole cycle. That's because you've been Most High has you that uncomfortable because you have not counseled for so long.
Huh? And once again, all I'm doing, I'm showing the dynamic of how what we think and feel in the midst of counsel. I'm again saying this is not how Job is feeling. He's reacting emotionally to brothers doing their job. Just like we react emotionally when brothers are doing their job with us. And because we understand this dynamic quite clearly, we avoid it as much as we can. And because we avoid it is why we're dying inside a little bit every day. Does that make sense? Because everybody will sit back here and say, I've tried the counsel thing, but this doesn't work. And these are some of the reasons why I don't do it. I'm getting scrutinized, I'm being judged, half the things they're saying is wrong. It's not exactly right. Then you got that guy, if you don't say the exact words the way he needs to hear it, then it's not true. Yeah. You got that guy too.
You were wearing a striped shirt that day.
No, it wasn't striped. It was polka dots.
Oh, come on, bro. You should have said that.
See, you're a liar.
You were wrong.
You were a liar. You were out the spirit. That's not true. I knew you were lying. I knew you were out the spirit. I knew all you want to do is judge me.
There you go.
This is how people think.
That's Jew world, huh?
This is the Jew world. This is what's in Job. And these are why people keep quiet and why you can't actually help their issues. It's like Job is so focused on how they're judging him. They're judging the wrinkles on his face, the expressions he has of disapproval, what he's bringing to the table, and they're making these counsels even longer. That's why I don't even want to do nothing with y'all. Y'all ain't gonna sit back here. This is what I get every time when I counsel with y'all.
This is why I don't.
This is the Jew process. This is the Jew communication. Let's keep going, bro.
Verse 9. He teareth me in his wrath, who hateth me. He gnasheth upon me with his teeth. My enemy sharpeneth his eye upon me.
Mm-hmm.
They have gaped upon me with their mouth.
They've gaped at me with their mouth. They're judging me. They're talking down to me. They're attacking me. Read on.
They have smitten me upon the cheek reproachfully. They have gathered themselves together against me.
You're bullying me. You're coming together to sit back and break me. Nothing good is going to come from this. So why counsel? Why talk? Why confess what's going on with me when I'm going to get judged for whatever is going in my head? Does that make sense? Let's go to verse 20.
Verse 20. My friends scorn me, but mine eye poured out tears unto God.
This is how we feel. My friends are scorning me. My brothers are tearing me down. And he says, but my eyes pour out tears to the Most High. I'm yearning to the Most High for answers. Read on.
Oh, that one might plead for a man with the Most High, as a man pleaded for his neighbor.
He's just saying, I wish brothers would plead for me like they would plead for somebody that they actually care about. Because the way you guys are coming at me, you guys don't care about me. But the problem was, they did care about him. He just couldn't see that they cared about him. They were still trying to counsel him and admonish him for his own sake. When you read their dialogue to Job, it was help. It was admonishment. It was strong. but it didn't mean they didn't care and they weren't trying to help. But too many times we misrepresent help, and we want to be comforted and lied to and told everything's going to be okay. Let that go and go to Job 19 and verse 19.
Job chapter 19, verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
Job chapter 19, verse 19. All my inward friends abhorred me, and they whom I love are turned against me.
This is how we feel. This is what we tell ourselves when we don't think nobody's listening, or when people give us answers that we're not prepared to accept. When sisters are giving us answers we don't want to accept, we tell ourselves these sisters don't love me. These sisters don't care about me because they're telling me the truth about myself. But I look at it as you're showing me hatred. You've turned against me. But people take that posture when people are just trying to correct them. Brothers look at it that way, and sisters look at it that way. Husbands and wives do it the same way. When a husband's giving correction to a sister, a lot of times sister looks at it as you show hatred. There's no compassion. There's no mercy. There's no love. Okay? Let that verse go. And the reason we always say that this person doesn't show me love and that person doesn't show me love is because Isaiah chapter 30, verse 9 through 10. Isaiah 30, verse 9 through 10.
Isaiah chapter 30, verse 9.
Yes. Read it.
God, Isaiah 30 and 9. That this is a rebellious people.
The reason we look at brotherhood and counsel as people showing us hatred is because we're rebellious. Read on.
Lying children.
We lie all the time. We lie to self-soothe. We lie to feel good about our situation. We lie out of our damn teeth. Read on.
Children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us.
Don't go. Prophesy not unto us what?
Prophesy not unto us right things. Speak unto us smooth things.
Don't sit back here and go through the admonishment process. Don't tell me what I got to fix. I really don't want to hear how messed up I am and how much of a loser I am. I know that. I want to feel good. So because I want to feel good, I'm going to go ahead and either keep things silent or I want to be around somebody who's going to lie to me. This is why brothers in the truth hang out with people in the world. They want to be self-soothed. They want to be with somebody that doesn't judge them. It doesn't correct them. They're cool guys because they're not going to tell me I'm off. But they're also going to want something in the flesh that I don't want to give them.
They want a little something else.
They want a lot of something else that I don't want to give them. But this is the mindset we go. I'm going to hang out with outsiders so they can make me feel good because they're not going to demand me see myself like the brothers around me make me see myself. Mm-hmm. It just goes into the fact that we want to be lied to. We want people to make us feel good versus having people tell us the truth and we eventually get through our issues and get better at it. You finished that verse? Read on.
Speak unto us smooth things. Prophesy deceit.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather hear a lie than be told the truth and feel bad. And feel like you don't care for it. Because that's how we get. I don't want to feel low. I don't want to feel low and less than. So lie to me. Is that not the condition of our people? We do it all the time. Okay, are we done with that verse? Now we go to Psalms 141 and 5. And then give me Luke 21, 22 and 31.
No.
Yeah, Psalms 141 and 5.
Psalms chapter
21,
141.
verse 22, verse 30, 22.
5.
Hold on, Cry. Luke 22. It's Luke 22.
Oh, chapter.
Verse 31 and 32. Then it's Psalms 141. Okay, do that. Give me Psalms 141 and 5, sir.
Psalms chapter 141 and verse 5.
Yep.
Let the righteous smite me. It shall be a kindness.
We haven't grown up to accept that a person admonishing and going through that entire process is healthy and necessary. In the midst of Job's battle, he couldn't even accept that. He wasn't mature enough to accept that correction is a lifesaver. That fire and that scrutiny is what saves us from falling and failure and greater sin. But because we're so afraid to check, we're so afraid of chastisement, we keep silent and we just erode from the inside and we just wear out from the inside. And we wonder why we're so unhappy and so disconnected. Let that go. Now, with that being the case, now we understand why we establish the isolation, why we stay separate. But now what we got to understand is that whole process that we explain is how Satan breaks us, because it's still satanic. And this entire process that we're explaining really comes from the devil. And I'm going to explain that. Go to Luke 22. Luke 22 and 31 explains how this entire process of being isolated is how Satan breaks us. Okay?
Luke 22 and 31. And the Lord said,
Let me get it real
Simon,
quick.
come.
Let me get it. Okay, read that, sir.
Luke 22 and 31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat.
Stop. Now we're going to sit back here and go into like an Eastward book, and it goes to Luke 22, 31, and it said Satan is trying to sift you. Now sift means to riddle. Sift means to riddle. Then you sit back here and you look up riddle in the 1828. Sift means to riddle. Riddle means to separate. Satan, his whole process is to get you to separate like what? Like wheat is sifted in a sieve. Just like wheat is separated with the usable part, with the non-usable part, Satan is trying to separate you from the what? Body.
Yeah.
He's trying to separate you and put you with the unusable pieces. This is why when you're weak, when you're not communicating and you're keeping everything inside, you're getting closer and closer to Jake. You're getting closer and closer to Jake alliances,
Yep.
Jake friendships, worldly connections, and you're being sifted away from the body. And Satan, through your own selfishness, your own fears, your own insecurities, is pulling you away from the strength that comes from being amongst the what? Body. The strength that comes from communication. The strength that comes from confessing your faults. That keeps everything connected and tight. But when you're in your head and you have all these insecurities and you're afraid of looking bad and you're afraid of being judged and you're afraid of being looked down upon, all this happening is Satan is sifting you and is trying to use you that's actually the wheat part and is sifting you and trying to separate you with the chaff, with the part that's going to get wasted away and thrown away. And Christ was telling Paul, listen, man, Satan is trying to break you. Peter, I mean. He's trying to sift you away and separate you from the body. Because he wants to break you because he knows what potential you have. And just like Christ was trying to tell Peter, you have potential, and Satan's trying to separate you from the body, what do you think the Most High is doing with y'all? You guys have potential. You guys have what it takes, but these spirits and your own insecurities is separating you from the body. It's keeping you away from the body. And the more you can be away from the body, now you're vulnerable for attack. Now you're vulnerable to fall. And to eventually be swept away like the chaff, which is the part of the wheat that you can't use.
Yeah.
Read on.
Verse 32. But I have prayed for thee, that thy fail,
But that faith.
that thy faith fail
The
not.
thing is this, but the more you're separate away from your body, your faith will eventually fail. The more you don't talk, the more you don't communicate, your faith in what you're doing every day is going to fail. We just read that in Job chapter 9, where those negative thoughts end up getting you to question, why am I even doing this?
Yep.
Why am I even serving the Most High in itself? Why am I even committing this? I think it was Job 9. I just want to kind of quote it real fast. But that's what ends up happening to your mind when you're isolated. When you're isolated, you start going into self-destruction mode. You start losing your faith. But Satan is trying to separate you to eventually get you to lose your faith. It was Job 9 and it was, if I be wicked, why then labor I in vain?
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this all in vain. Now I'm all the way out. The more you stay in your head and you go into this self-deprecating mode and self-sabotage, you don't talk, your next step over time is, why am I even doing this? I'm working and doing all this in vain. Let me just stop what I'm doing and live my life. Now you're successfully cut off. Now you fall. Now you're Satan's, and not the Most High's. But it starts from that lack of communication and that isolation. Satan breaks you through isolation. This is why brother said, man, stay out of your car. Stop being on your own somewhere. Nobody knows where the hell you at. Get your ass around the body.
Stop being off the grid.
Stop being this loner, bro. This lone ass wolf. That shit don't work. Stop that. Stop being alone. Be where you're supposed to be. Report, communicate, and stop isolating yourself, because that's how we know you're getting sifted like wheat, and Satan is about to break you. According to the scripture. That's why we say, get around. We're going to do brotherhood functions. Stop being selfish. Get around the body. Get around the body. Get around the body. This is why. Because those people that are in their head, they want to be alone, that's Satan talking. That's Satan working through you. I want to be alone. That ain't you. That's not logic. That's your feelings, but that's Satan controlling those feelings. It's the truth. Now, hold that. We'll let that go and go to 1 Peter 5 and 8. Finish the last part in verse 32. While somebody else gives 1 Peter 5 and 8.
And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren.
He says, and when you sit back here and get over your attacks, show your brothers how to overcome their isolation.
That's the goal.
And that part of them that wants to stay away from the body. Because you start seeing men isolate, a few days later they're out. Then they're smoking weed and they're on drugs and they're out of here. Or whatever it is. It don't got to be drugs, but you live in your life and you isolate and you're broken off from the body. And now Satan has been successful in sifting you away. It happens all the time.
We have class. We usually have a class. We don't do it every time, but that's a process called being dead in the spirit.
This is what we talk about. But it starts with the isolation. And not want to talk about and discuss your problems. The fear of being judged. The fear of being condemned. The fear of looking bad. The fear of being not considered. All this stuff is why people stay distant and stay away. Read 1 Peter 5 and 8.
1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober. Be vigilant.
Be sober, be clear-minded, and be vigilant. Why?
Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
When you got this roaring-ass lion going through the streets, what is the lion trying to do? Have you watched nature shows? When you see that damn lion getting those wildebeest out, and he starts coming out of the thicket, he's going out. What do you see him doing? They're going for the weak, isolated guy. He's for that damn silly wildebeest that strayed away from the pack, that just loves this water over here. Why do you want that water, B? I'm like, come on, G, get back, son. Get back, son. That line's over there, Claude. That line over there, Claude. Get on back over there, Claude. I ever saw like Snoop Dogg doodles, like animal shows. Like, come on, Claude. Is he about to get you, Claude? Get back over there with the group, Claude. I've actually watched it. It was really funny watching it. But the point is like, you got this wildebeest and you know he's going to die at. And he's sitting back here. He's just so caught up in the deliciousness of the water, right?
This is the delicious.
And he's got away from the group out, and that lion comes in and he catches him out. So when you're reading this verse, when this is a lion seeking whom he may devour, he's going for that isolated cat. So when you're the isolated dude in the group, no Satan is coming for you.
Those demons can feed off
that Satan can't get. That lion can't get that group that strong. He don't get that straggler. That little baby fawn that's walking, his weak legs are all weak, and he's just doing this. He's like this. He's moving like this.
Tasty one. That's a tasty one.
He is delicious.
I'm not mature in the spirit yet.
Exactly. I don't know if I want to be. I don't know if I want to be. Got him, cuz. Listen.
That's
That's how exactly. Or that alligator brings him in the water, and they just don't come up. He's out of here.
That death spin.
Yeah, bro. What am I trying to explain? We're going into the Lion Kingdom and all these animal shows to show you that lions is back here. It's about dividing and what? It's divide and conquer. Right? That's what the roaring lion is talking about. I'm gonna go for the weak link.
Yep.
Yes, I.
The victim is usually unaware.
And it's oblivious, and they're caught up in their life. Oh, I wish I had more water holes to go to.
Try hard.
There's not enough water holes in the jungle. Africa is always dry. I don't understand why I can't have more water. Ah! I'm dead.
Where are the brothers?
That's what happens, Zach.
They're over there.
You're so caught up in what you're not having, you're not focused on what your surroundings are. Yes, sir?
I want to pull a verse on that.
Okay, what you got?
Ecclesiastes 6 and verse 2.
It's the truth, bro.
Got it.
It's in the Bible. But the Bible says
what?
it's in the Bible. The Bible says the same thing.
It's in the Bible. Got Drewski that.
6 and 2. Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 2.
Got it.
Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own
Why,
heart.
why would someone be isolated in the first place? Because I believe my counsel is sufficient enough. My advice for myself is sufficient enough to sustain my spirit. I don't need external
You that
advice.
wildebeest, bro, on an Animal Channel. Like,
Read on.
Nat Geo, you're on Nat Geo, bro. You're on Nat Geo on the Discovery Channel. Like.
Yeah,
And after that water buffalo dies, Naked and Afraid is next time. That's what's happening now. But keep going, I'm sorry.
You're on Angel TV. All the angels are watching like this.
Yeah.
The life of brother such and such.
Read from top again.
God, extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart,
Read on.
that thy soul be not torn in pieces, as a bull straying alone.
Bro, that's exactly what it is. That person that's isolated in their own thoughts and their own sadness, they're isolated like a bull. And what was that? That's phenomenal.
A bull straying alone. You got caught
Listen,
lacking.
you got to pull that with this. Okay, listen. Where is it again?
Ecclesiastes 6 and 2.
Ecclesiastes 6 and 2.
Well, I'm putting that in with this verse 8. This is exactly what it is. But it's the truth. When you're isolated, that's how Satan breaks you. We're in a spiritual war. And we're going into this class because we have brothers at times that prefer isolation. You prefer that isolation, you're going to be isolated and the Spirit's going to get you. And Satan is going at you. He's trying to separate you like the wheat from the chaff. The wheat are the usable parts of the body. And Satan is trying to work on your head so you will no longer be a usable part of the body. And if you're no longer a usable part of the body, now you're disposable. Now you can be destroyed and gotten rid of. And Scripture talks about the day passing away like the chaff. The chaff is forgotten about. The parts of the wheat that can't be used are now forgotten about. Do you want to be forgotten about?
Read on. Verse 5.
Verse 5.
So this is verse 2 to verse 5?
My fault. It's verse 2 to 3. My fault.
Verse 3.
Yeah.
Thou shalt eat up the leaves,
Thy leaves.
and thou shalt eat up thy leaves, and lose thy fruit, and leave thyself as a dry tree.
What it's saying is, when I rely on my wisdom, my substance, my knowledge to sustain myself, what it's saying is, you're going to be left dry, useless, unprofitable to the Most High, and exposed, vulnerable. You're dry seed, that means you're about to get hewn down. That's what Christ said.
Yeah.
Dig it up, start it over again.
You can't be used.
Can't be used anymore.
But that dryness is based on your isolation.
Yep.
You being at your own head, your own thoughts, and not being willing to be molded and strengthened by the body. And this is how we get isolated and exposed by Satan. And that's what being sober and vigilant is about, is keeping aware of your spirit, communicating and staying on top of yourself before you find yourself isolated and exposed and vulnerable to the wiles of the devil. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's do Ecclesiastes in the Bible, chapter 4, verse 9 through 2.
Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes in the Bible, chapter 4, verse 9 through 2. 12. 9 through 12.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9. says, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor.
Listen, there's a good reward when we're together. There's a good reward when we're fighting and we're in the right mindset. And we're able to communicate about our issues, communicate about the problems. It's always better to have two thoughts and two brothers to attack an issue. But we think being solo with our issues is the best way. It's not. You're better off with another mind in the mix to help you overcome what you're going through. Read on.
Come. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow.
And that's the point. If you're getting weak, allow a brother in or allow a sister in so you can be helped. So you just don't fall and stay falling. Read on.
Come. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he have not another to help him up.
It's so important to keep that help near you. To keep a person that knows exactly what you're going through to assist you. Too many times, I always talk to brothers and say, man, this brother don't tell me nothing. He's not giving me in. He's just giving me the representative. That's dangerous. Is he telling you anything? No. Is he telling you anything? No. How can you help a person that doesn't let you in? You can't. Scripture's like two is better than one, but you can't. There can't be two unless I let you know what's going on and what's going on with me. Now it's two against one. Now I have help. Read on.
Come. It says, for he have not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone?
You can't. Unless you want to be warm in the world. There's a lot of people that'll take your warmth from you. Yeah. They're going to take a whole lot of your virtue from you. You can get that if you want. Read on.
Come, verse 12. And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken.
The whole point is, if I have counselors, if I have brothers, if I have help, if I have counselors, it'll be very hard for me to fall. But I have to let people in to get that. Let that go and go back to Psalms 32, verse 5 and 6. Now we're back. We did a whole lot of verses from Psalms 1 to 4, getting back to this point. But now, verse 5, now David is talking about what he did to counteract the fact that part of him wanted to keep silent for so long.
Psalm 141.
No, Psalms 32, verse 5.
Okay.
Come. Ready?
Yes, read that, sir.
Psalms 32, verse 5. I acknowledge my sin unto thee.
But now, this is what the prayer is about. We read it in, if I'm not mistaken, it was James 5. Now, David got to the point where he got past the self-loathing and the anger and the roaring inside of him. Now he got to where he's praying to the Most High now. And he's acknowledging all the negative that he has been wrestling with. Okay, read on.
And mine iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgression unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. Selah.
The thing is this. The Most High will forgive our iniquity if we admit and acknowledge our sin and no longer do it. But the problem is, you're supposed to pray to the Most High and ask forgiveness, and then you get counsel from brothers to help stay on top of your spirit. The forgiveness comes from the Heavenly Father. The counsel comes in with the men around you on how to maintain the right outlook, how to maintain the right works, so that you don't repeat the same mistakes over and over again, so that your prayers will be answered. Does that make sense?
Oh.
Okay, read on.
Verse 6. For this shall every one that is godly pray unto thee in a time when thou mayest be found.
He says the godly person doesn't take forever to send his prayers up and to confess their faults. I've seen brothers wait years before they sit back here and come around. Hold this and go to Isaiah 55 and 6.
Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6.
Read that.
Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6.
Seek ye the Most High, while he may be found.
Okay, I'm sorry. Say that again.
Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6.
Seek ye the Most High, while he may be found.
This is the point. You better seek the Most High while He's open to be listened to. A lot of times we're running around, we're in our head, we're tripping, we're soaking, we're complaining, and we're soaking and complaining. Scripture's like, but you better sit back here and get out of your head and seek Him while He's open to be seeked. A lot of times we sitting back here, we're messing around, we're wasting time, and it takes us too long to get back to the Heavenly Father. But David said, go back to Psalms 32 and 6.
Psalm 32 and 6. For this shall every one that is godly pray unto thee in a time when thou mayest be found.
He says the godly will make the changes quick enough so the Most High will hearken to you. Read on.
Surely in the floods of great waters they shall not come nigh unto him.
So what he's saying is, when you come back to the Most High properly, he said, surely the Most High will sit back here and make sure the great floods or the great difficulties in your life won't affect you and harm you. Okay? Read on.
Verse 7. You want verse 7?
Yeah, let's go to verse 7.
Come. Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance.
David is saying the Most High is going to be there for me, but He's only going to be there for you when you acknowledge your sin and go through the process of getting changed and allow your teachers to help you. Read on.
Come. Verse 8. Psalm 32 and 8. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye.
I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. This is the Most High dealing with with David. Okay, hold this and go to Hebrews 13, verse 16 through 17. One on top. Yeah. Hebrews 13, verse 16 through 17.
Hebrews chapter 13, verse 16. But to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices the Most High is well pleased.
Everything is about communication. And with these sacrifices, now think about this. Ask yourself, how does 16 and 17 connect? How does 16 and 17 connect? Read it from the top, verse 16 again.
Verse 16. But to do good and to communicate, forget not.
Never forget to communicate. Read on.
For with such sacrifices, the Most High is well pleased.
The Most High is pleased with that sacrifice in yourself to communicate about the problems that are inside of you. Read on.
Obey them, verse 17. Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourself.
But what type of submission is being talked about here? What do we read in verse 16?
Communication.
The communication.
Specifically.
This is the point. Verse 16 and 17 come together. So the sacrifice of communication is what you should be doing to the ones that have rule over you. Why is that the case? Read on.
For they watch for your souls.
So if the leader or the presbytery or the counselor or elder has to watch over your soul, that means they're responsible and accountable for you. But how can they be accountable for you if you don't give them the necessary information that they can help you with? Does that make sense? You have a responsibility to talk about what your problems are so they can properly help you. How can they properly help you if you don't give them the information they need to fix the things that are inside of you? Read verse 16 again.
Verse 16. But to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with such sacrifices, the Most High is well pleased.
The Most High is well pleased with those sacrifices of communication. Read on.
Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourself.
Part of that submission is your communication about what's eating at you and bothering you. Read on. Why?
For they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief. For that is unprofitable for you.
It's not profitable for you to keep silence and keep hitting and make things as wild goose chase and figure out what your problem is. It's profitable for you to talk about what your problems are so you can get the proper solution to it. Does that make sense? Okay, let us go to Psalms 32 and verse 9.
Psalm 32 and 9.
So verse 8 was talking about how the Most High will instruct us and teach us, right? And he'll guide our eyes. Read on verse 9.
Verse 9. Be ye not as a horse, or as the mule.
Don't be like a horse or a mule. Don't be this border that can't be shown nothing. Listen, this blinders, I can't be corrected. I can't be adjusted. I can't be tweaked. He says, don't be like a horse or a mule. Be instructable. Be teachable. Okay? Read on.
Which have no understanding, whose mouth must be held in with bit and bridle.
The problem is this: brothers all the time want freedom and respect, and they want to be trusted. I've seen brothers all the time. How come you don't trust me with this? Because you act like a wild jackass.
Yeah.
And listen, 23 hours of the day I got to put a bridle on your mouth.
Yep.
And then how come you don't let me sit back? Why don't you take this bridle off? I deserve this bridle to be taken off. No, you don't. You haven't earned the right for the bridle to come out of your mouth.
You haven't shown maturity to the point where men are going to put you in a position to make your own decisions. We want brothers to make their own choices so the spirit of wisdom can guide them. But you have to mechanically be instructed and get these mechanical orders on the clipboard. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. Step 4, then you call this brother and tell this brother exactly what you did. Then step 5, then go do it and make sure you take a picture of it and send it to the Come on, why do you gotta do this tedious task? Because you have to be under a tedious task, but you haven't learned the skill of following yet because you don't trust yet. And you don't trust because you haven't seen the counsels that man give you work out. See, when a person hasn't seen the benefit of counsel, it's that much harder to apply counsel. So you're in this this area where I don't trust, I'm not sure this works. You're in that point where we're in the beginning of class. You're dealing with fear and loneliness. That's a double whammy.
And I'm going to say this. And the person that has the bridle in your mouth doesn't understand whenever I take the bridle out of your mouth, you're running around and trying to get the hell out of the damn out of the horse ranch. Yeah. So until the owner understands why you do what you do, meaning you got to communicate more, the bridles will keep being on. You want the bridles off without even having a relationship with the rider. Think about that. If I'm the rider, whoever the rider is, has to trust the horse to take the bridle off. The horse owner is not going to take the bridle off until the horse has earned the trust.
And this is why Christ has you under so many restrictions. Even when you run from the elders, cool. That's how you're going to break your car down, guaranteed. The car is breaking down or you're losing something. Because if the elders can't manage you with your affairs, you're going to force Christ to start taking things and stripping you to help you manage your affairs.
He's letting us know that there is an option to communicate and acknowledge issues, or you're going to be the horse and the mule that's stubborn and doesn't communicate. And doesn't confess their faults. The ones that don't confess, the ones that don't communicate, the Most High makes their life more difficult, more refined and more constraining, because they don't talk, they don't communicate, they don't confess.
Then this is about man.
Then all of a sudden,
it's about man.
Then brothers are unfair. They're stifling me. But the Most High is like, don't be a damn mule and a horse. What about that part of the verse? Stop being hard-headed. Stop being unmoldable. Communicate. Let people help you. And the bridle will come off. What does the Lord say about the horse? Hold this and go to Ecclesiastes 33, verse 24 to 28.
Look at a horse wheel, man.
This is how the Most High looks at a person that's rolling like the damn horse and the mule. Ecclesiastes 33, verse 24 to 28.
Ecclesiastes chapter 33, verse 24. fodder, a want, and burdens are for the ass.
So listen, for brothers who want to be like the horse and the mule, then you're going to get more work, more correction, and more labor. You're going to get food, a lot of damn labor, and a lot of chastisements. Because your conduct of lack of communication brings you to that point. If you want trust, most likely, if listen, something's going to give. Either you're going to break because the work is too hard, or you're going to change. And so you can grow.
So our life gets harder and harder, so we get to a point of decision.
To force us to communicate to, you know what, or get off the pot.
Yep.
This is how the Most High operates. That's why it almost gets unbearable until you have to talk.
Why is it getting so intense?
This is so hard. I got to say something, or I'm going to get out of here. And I'm going to do something extreme. This is how the Most High forces us. He just keeps making the fodder less, the wine more, and the burdens more.
Heavier load.
You're getting less. This is less cornmeal. This is less cornmeal than last week.
There's no
What's going on
money.
here? This is what's happening. He makes the situation worse and worse and worse to force you to a decision. Read on.
Kind. It says, fodder, a want, and burdens are for the ass, and bread, correction, and work for a servant.
The Most High is like, listen, stop fighting the process, and I will make things easier for you as a servant or this damn beast of burden. If you want to be treated like a beast of burden, I will treat you like a beast of burden. But don't get mad and treat it for like a beast of burden.
This is just work.
The problem, then talk. Then make it more than work.
All this is work.
Then just counsel and talk about your problems and not make it about just work. Maybe you should study more. Maybe you should talk about the Bible more and not make it about just working and fodder and getting beat and tasks.
I'm tired. I don't want to work. I just go in the world and work. It's the same thing. Okay, bro.
That's because people take it that way and don't make this what it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be here working on my spirit and working on spiritual things. But if you don't want to do that and you want to be stubborn, you break a stubborn mule.
The Most High does that.
This is what the Most High is saying. Be ye not as the horse or the mule, which have no understanding. You know what a horse and mule understands? Long ass hours, back-breaking work, little food, little sustenance. That's what a damn carnal beast knows. Because you know my dog's here's the ruffling of a bag. This meal time. He's like, and my dog has these ups. This dude can jump to my neck, bro. And he's like, "Roar! It's food time!" Nom 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 nom.
Yeah.
But we don't hear him. You know, we don't hear him sounds. All he'll do is posture himself to the window like this.
What's going on?
I didn't eat. He's like this. Then he get different postures. He says, "I didn't eat. I didn't eat." You know, it's that time, right? It's that time. But that's what animals respect. That's what they know. He's like, stop acting like the animals and be like a damn human being and talk about your problems and work on your issues. If not, I'm just going to make it about work and beatings and corrections. It's going to be corrections and work.
And the marriage.
How many brothers feel that? It's always about corrections and work.
And the marriage will be dry.
Let's sit back and make it past that.
The camp will be dry.
And then you blame the camp, but the one's like, you're the horse. You're the horse. That was the camp's fault. You're the beast of burden.
You got that.
You make it just about the work.
You got that line of fur going down your neck, and you don't even know it.
Kinda. You're Mr. Ed.
Or Mrs. Ed.
You're Mr. Ed or Mrs. Ed. Whatever it is, you're the person that makes it get difficult.
It's not fair. Like, okay.
5 o'clock again. This isn't what it was meant to be.
It's just scriptures.
No, it's just work and sacrifice.
Sacrifice. There you go. That's it.
Well, make it more than that.
Yeah.
Communicate and work on the issues with you.
God.
That's inside of you. The Lord is like, don't be like the damn donkey and the mule. Make it more than just work and burdens. Because when the Most High starts looking at you like you're the donkey and the mule, this is what's coming to you. Read verse 24 again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 33 and verse 24. Fodder, a want, and burdens are for the ass, and bread, correction, and work for a servant.
Read on.
If thou send thy servant to labor, thou shalt find rest.
Mm-hmm.
But if thou let him go idle, he shall seek liberty.
God. Read on.
A yoke and a collar do by the neck, so are tortures and torments on evil servants.
You know what the Most High is trying to say? I can't even work. I can't even get to the level of spiritual enlightenment and growth until you're broken and accept your condition and just obey and do the basic things. He's like, the people he's classifying as the horse and the mule can't get just past basic communication. They can't get past basic orders.
Basic.
And if you can't get past basic orders, then all it's going to be is the grind and sacrifice and unhappiness.
You torture.
And torture. Once we can sit back here and get past the basic communication and basic protocol, now we can begin to grow. For everybody saying, why is things so hard? I haven't grown in so many years. You know why? Because you've been the donkey. You've been the ass. You've been the mule. You've been the burro. That's you. That's why you haven't grown. Because you've been stubborn for 3, 4, 5 years. Once you realize you were the burro, and you can accept your conditions and work on the flaw that you got, now you can grow. And eventually, like Christ says, you are my friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can end up getting the friend status, but you got to get past. Listen,
Donkey
Most High
status.
breaking you for being a donkey.
That's donkey status, huh? That's your status on God's Facebook, huh? Donkey.
Relationship status. Donkey. Mule.
There's that picture of you, like little.
These crazy
Can't
sounds.
communicate today. Said last time posted communication. A year ago. Like, come on, bro.
Everything's a burden. Everything's so hard. Listen, we're joking. We're milking this a little bit. We know this. But why are we milking this? There's a lot more burros in the nation of Israel than people want to admit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of burros here
Burros,
in the nation. There's a lot of stubborn people that don't want to change and are saddened by why their condition doesn't change.
Because that's what the horse and the mule is known for. The horse and the mule are known for. The horse is known for not being broken or almost being unbreakable. And then the mule is known for stubbornness.
God.
That's what they're both
So the
known
Most
for.
High's like, don't be this person, because if you are, I have to make life completely difficult for you.
But this is the thing. People get mad because they're dealing with everything's hard, but they look at other animals in the farm, and the other animals in the farm are smiling. They're happy kindergartners. They're joyful.
They get to run. They get to run the plains.
They have
They
cookies
graze
and
and
snacks.
They grade. They free grades. Like you
They're-
got to grade with a chain on you.
They're
You got to
grazing
grade.
literally.
You got to grade. You got. I guess I got to eat this up. If they get to run around and eat the right way and have fun,
Yeah.
I'm stuck in. I was stuck in the damn in the coop. Listen, it's the truth.
That's Jew
It's
life
the
on
truth.
the
But you know what the
farm.
problem is? Why are we the burros? Because most of us are burros because we don't talk. And I've said this many times in class. The people that don't talk go for years without getting their problems fixed. And those people that don't talk, they end up suffering because they don't sit back and communicate the problem, so they can't get the help until late.
Don't suffer
In silence. There's a class
Go find
that
it.
deals
It's
with
there.
that. Go find it because it's there. So read I think we're donkeyed out on this point. Let's go back to Psalms 9, 32 and 9.
Psalm 32 and verse 9. Be not as a horse, or as a mule, which have no understanding, whose mouth must be held with the bit and
The
bridle.
Most High has to keep that bit and bridle on you until you learn to submit. But a lot of times, submission for us is in honesty of communication, honest disclosure about the problems. Read on.
Lest they come near unto thee.
Read on.
Many sorrows shall be to the wicked, but he
Say that again.
many sorrows shall be to the wicked.
Yeah, one more time.
Wicked.
Many sorrows shall be to the wicked.
Not from your husband, not from your elder, not from your captain or your officer, your head officer, but sorrows are to the wicked from the Most High. Because Scripture does say that your own what?
Wicked shall correct thee.
Is it the Most High just cursing you to curse you? Or your own situations, your own choices are snowballing and
Yeah, bro.
making bigger problems?
Done. And that's the point. The wickedness, we're going to stick on theme with the class. We're talking about wickedness in verse 10, but where was the wickedness in this entire chapter.
Like communication.
The wickedness started off with the silence in your bones that was eating at you.
Mm.
The silence of what's going on inside of you.
Yeah.
And the lack of confession.
Yep.
Lack of acknowledging your sin for everybody to hear. So this is, in this arena, the sorrows come to the wicked that internalize their sickness.
Quenching the spirit.
Does that make sense? Read on.
For many sorrows shall be to the wicked, but he that trusteth in the Lord, mercy shall compass him about.
So-
Mercy will compass the person that communicates.
So when we say, when Scripture says trust the Lord, people say, I do trust the Lord. But they don't communicate. No, trust
You
the
don't
Lord.
trust the Lord then.
You're saying, remember, the action must come from the concept. I trust the Lord. David said he trusts the Lord all throughout the Psalms. And all throughout the Psalms, he is doing what? He's confessing.
Yep.
And communicating.
And we read in James 5, you start with the personal confession and prayer to the Most High, then it starts to bleed out to the teachers and elders that you confess to. Then they pray for you. And then they work on converting you. It's prayer to the Most High, asking for prayer from the body, then it's the body praying for you and helping to convert you. And that's how you get healed. Are there any questions? With that, we're going to shut down class. Israel, Tawada for tuning in. See you guys back on Wednesday. Tawada, shalom.
Shalom.